This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 3 of Imaginary Stories. Kelly Nelson here, joined by, as always, a person that I've been in tons of podcasts with, my partner in a lot of podcasts, the man who watches the Watcher, Johnny Sorrow. How are you doing, Johnny?
It is a cold and lonely existence on the moon, for I can only watch and not interfere. This is my curse. This is my blessing, for I am only the sorrow.
Yes. So by those awkward jokes right off the bat, you may have guessed. The focus of today's show is the What If comic book that Marvel Comics published for several decades, actually, in different volumes. The focus, though, specifically of today's show will be the original What If series that started in 1977 and ran until 1984. The focus of our show is usually the classic comics, and we'll stick with the original incarnation of What If. We'll touch on the subsequent What If series at the end, but I mean, we got a lot to talk about with the original series because it's it's not something that is talked about a lot, I don't think. Certain issues of it are. The whole concept of What If is sort of known and used, in sort of a wider scale than I would say that the popularity of the comic book ever warranted. But the original series was all over the place with all different characters, because the concept, of course, was stories that could have happened in the Marvel Universe had, as something went differently, and each issue would focus on a different superhero, beginning with the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man, then going on to the Hulk, the Avengers, Captain America, etc. And then they would go back to characters over the years and over the different issues. But it was a unique comic because it always had a different focus. So we're going to get right into it. First, before we dive into the actual story of What If, maybe we can give our own personal stories briefly here on our connection to the What If comic. Johnny, you were a fan growing up?
Yes. I was a kid in the 70s. I was born in 1970. By 1977, I was buying comic books like crazy. And still, at flea markets and what have you. And What If was always something you could find. And What If was the as Kelly was saying, the Watcher, the character of the Watcher, would introduce that he could look into all different alternate realities. So he looked at alternate realities where things went a different way and was presenting them to you. It was kind of like a Twilight Zone. He was Rod Serling,
Basically,
introducing and ending, these stories about what if things went differently, based on a very successful concept that DC did a lot in the 60s, which were called imaginary stories, usually used in Superman comic books more than anything else, because you had Superman and Action comics and the various other ones, and there was only so much you could do with Superman back then, so they had to come up with ways to just be original and tell original stories. So they came up with imaginary stories, which were like what ifs. What if Superman died? What if he gets married to Lois Lane and this, and those were always really great, really super fun stories. And so Marvel in the mid 70s, they were having their big giant push of books. Marvel was hot in the mid 70s, not as hot as it was going to become in the 80s, but it was they got super hot in the 60s. The comics boom had died out. But in the mid 70s, there was a big Marvel push. The Mego dolls were all out there, along with DC ones as well. But and What If was this book that it came out, and it was, if you were like 7 or 8 years old and you're reading these stories about like this was what could have happened, they blew your mind. Like a lot of them really like seemed intense, and the original I don't remember when they went down to the normal size, but they were really thick. A big thick story. And that usually they had the smarts to show you that this imaginary thing, you should be glad that didn't happen, because the imaginary thing usually went wrong, or it didn't end up happier than what actually happened.
No, never.
Almost never. But they were just like so much fun because you could always pick one up, and if you didn't know what they were talking about, didn't matter. It was all one shot things, and you got to the end, and they were just the idea of these writers and artists are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want with this concept, and you looked forward to a what if when you could find one on the newsstand. They were so I was really into those into the what ifs. They were one of my favorite books.
Yeah, they were really for the hardcore comic fan, like someone that knew the history, knew the characters inside and out. Because down to one of the early ones we'll get to was, what if the Avengers were formed in the 50s? Right.
And it was based on the almost completely forgotten superhero characters that they did have in the 50s after superheroes were dead. During the Comics Code and Seduction of the Innocent shit. And Marvel didn't have heroes, but they did. They were just very minor things in backups of romance books.
That's right.
Or fantasy books. And they did one whole story based on them, which, even I was a kid. I didn't know who these characters were, but even still, I read enough, whenever I get my hands on that, I knew like, oh, these characters appeared in the 50s.
Yeah.
In fact, they gave you in fact, in that issue, there was a page where they explained where all these characters first came from.
That's
and what they appeared in. It was almost like that one was almost like an education.
Yeah. I would have forgot that, but that's true, because they had to, because these characters hadn't appeared, like you said, in 20 years at least at that point.
One of whom was adapted into other stuff and became Quasar.
That's right.
He was a major character.
Yeah, Marvel Boy. Yep. That's right. So like I was saying, I mean, the initial issues are all based on, stuff that happened in the very early days of Marvel Comics, or the superhero rebirth of the Silver Age of Marvel Comics, with the early days of the Fantastic Four, early days of the Hulk, Avengers. So you had to be a real fan, and like a longtime collector to have appreciated these stories.
But also at that time is when they released all those huge paperbacks
That's right.
with all the old stuff in them, or at least for origin stories. And then they had those digests,
Yep.
at least for Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and Hulk, which collected in these little paperbacks, full collections of all the original runs.
Right.
So they were really focused on their past at that time.
Yeah, and they did have monthly reprints. Like that's how I got into
Marvel Tales,
but there's also reprints of the Hulk, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Captain America that were going on at the same time. That was one thing, when I got into comics.
Marvel Triple Action.
Yeah,
comics.
Marvel Triple Action. Yeah, I really loved that everything connected to the past. That you could read these comics from 10, 20 years before, and it was like the first part of the story that you're currently reading, and it all connected, and the continuity was so tight. And when that started to kind of fray and loosen in the in the 80s, that's when I started to kind of lose interest for the first time. But anyway, yeah, What If was totally like a hardcore fan's the favorite comic because it had really paid off, years of fandom with these stories. Yeah, I got into comics in the early 80s. I had a few issues of What If, the original What If series, beginning in the 30s, like around those. Actually, I had the comedy issue that we're going to talk about later. That was issue 34. I vividly remember having that one, and a few of the later ones. But then it was later when the second series came out, and by then I was almost a teenager, and I was a huge fan and collector and knew all the history. And so I was big into that series. And at the same time, the junior high school I went to was right across the street from a comic book store, or a strip mall.
Oh.
Yeah, a strip mall that had a comic book store, Comic and Game Universe. And we hung out there.
I was trying to say a strip club and a comic book store.
Yeah.
Put the two of those together, I think we've got an idea.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I mean, a lot of my lunch money went to buying old comic books and eating like a bag of chips and a cheap 50 cent pop. So I weighed like, 120 pounds throughout junior high. I was spending all my money on comic books. But they had a good collection of the old What Ifs there. And that's when I started to accumulate, and for cheap too.
No What Ifs. There's, I think of one that they tried to bump the price up on.
Yeah, there was a few that had Frank Miller art, so they were a bit more.
And the Phoenix one.
The Phoenix one.
Because X-Men were involved. They tried to bump up, but there was no resale value to them. That was one of the big things about when you're a kid going to a comic shop or a flea market or whatever. These What Ifs were big books. They were fun to read, and you weren't paying through the nose for old issues.
Yeah, exactly. I got the first issue in really good condition for like $5, which wasn't too bad considering what some of the most expensive comics were going for.
I'm a little older. I got the first issue from this kid down the road who had it and gave it to me for $0.25.
There you go. Even better. So yeah, I accumulated a lot of the very early ones. I was big into Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man was always my favorite character. So I had all the Spider-Man What Ifs and the Hulk ones too. The Hulk was one of my favorites. Captain America too. So yeah, I collected all those, and yeah, I mean the second series ended in the late 90s. I did buy the last issue. Like I wasn't really collecting it after issue 50 or so, but I happened to get the last issue of that run. And that was What If the Secret Wars, or the heroes never came back from the Secret Wars, which was it was kind of cool actually. But after that,
they all had kids. Have kids on.
Yeah, they did.
On Battle World.
Yeah, there was. I can't remember who hooked up with who, but there was kids And Spider-Man, of course, because he had the black costume and was never ever able to take it off, became totally evil and crazy
All right.
and stuff like that. So
There was a lot of guys then who weren't getting any pussy because the amount of chicks to dudes on the Secret Wars.
I know.
Someone had to find Ultron sexy at some point or another. Huh?
Those were the scenes that the Watcher did not watch.
It ain't gay if it's a robot, right?
Yeah, so that was the ending. That was issue, I think, 114. So the second series went for a lot longer than the first series. The first series ended at issue 47. And there's been a few revivals in the 2000s. I don't think I ever bought any of them. They were just kind of one-shot deals. But anyway, so I was a big fan growing up of What If. And so here we go. Just before we start, the creator of What If, or the original What If, was Roy Thomas. He was like the first fan to become a big-time presence in comic books.
Well, was it Roy or Jim Shooter?
No, well, they were close, like maybe even the same year, like mid 60s. Of course, Jim Shooter was like 13 years old, writing Legion of Superhero.
He was a 13-year-old who sent in a Legion story, and they're like, "This is good," and they brought him in, and you're what? And he's 13. And he did a story where he kills off a character.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was inspired by an Avengers comic, the first appearance of Wonder Man in the first few issues of the Avengers, because Shooter was a big fan of Marvel, and he brought that attitude with him to DC, where DC was, the guys still writing the DC comics in the 60s were the guys who were writing them in World War II. So he was
Legion always lent itself to to be more experimentative.
Yeah.
He did that book. He introduces 4 characters, one of them being Pharaoh Lad, and within a few issues, Pharaoh Lad dies.
Yeah. Shooter was super young, but Thomas got in around the same time. He was a huge fan of Golden Age superhero comics. And he
totally.
Came up with zines, Alter Ego. That was a famous comic book zine.
Yeah.
And was one of the guys who wrote a lot of letters to Julius Schwartz, the editor of, one of the main editors at DC Comics, and sort of started that pen pal thing going. And then, he came and he started writing. Well, he started writing for DC first for a couple weeks. I think he was under Mort Weisinger, who was the editor of the Superman comics, but he was a notorious dictator type boss that was just impossible to work for. So he quit and then called up Stan Lee and was writing X-Men comics a few weeks later. But anyway, so Roy goes back a long ways, and he always had, the big connection to the past.
Right.
He was obsessive when he was writing the Avengers with coming up with explanations for everything, tying it into, the 40s characters, even the 50s characters that Johnny mentioned were sort of, he brought back, who was it? Oh, anyways, he knew all the old characters, and he would bring them back through the Avengers over the years, because he wrote the Avengers for years and years. And The Invaders was a comic he came up with.
Love The Invaders.
Yeah, which we'll probably touch on. Which was a World War II era Marvel comic or Marvel superheroes team. So anyway, What If was his baby, and he came up with it 1977. And right out of the gate, the first issue was a big one. What if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four?
Yep.
And it's based on a story that happened in the first issue of the Amazing Spider-Man comic. In 1963, the cover of the first Amazing Spider-Man is Spider-Man in the Baxter Building with the Fantastic Four. The story goes that Spidey's, he's just started out. He's struggling. He needs to make money, as, that would be a constant problem for him in those days. And he figures that if he joins the Fantastic Four, it must be a paying gig. and he can be a professional superhero. So he brashly goes in, invades the Baxter building, like I think a window was open or something. It's one of those sort of things. And then basically, he's very cocky and arrogant, and
they catch him in a big glass booth.
Yes, finally they subdue him, and then he, talks to them and says, well, I'm here to join the team, sign me up. And then Reed, informs them, well, son, this is a non-profit organization.
What?
What? And then, of course, in those early days, Spider-Man had like a friendly rivalry with the Human Torch. They were both teenagers, and Spider-Man always would be the outsider and wouldn't really play well with the other superheroes. That'd be a reoccurring theme. And so this premise of this story is that on that fateful day, instead of turning Spider-Man away, I believe it's the Invisible Girl who, at the last second, says, "Wait, stop," and they.
Well, no, because in the original book, she yells, "Wait, don't go."
Oh, that's right.
Because in the original Spider-Man book, he's a teenager and a hothead, and he goes, "Look, I'm trying out. I want to be a part of this." So like, "Oh, we're a nonprofit," and he gets pissed. It's like, fuck, and he's mad and he leaves and she yells, "Yo, wait." And they go to, like, Reed goes, "Oh, maybe we could have worked something out." Well, we'll never know. And that's the genesis of this, is that this time he hears her. Right. And she comes back and Reed, he goes, "Well, we could maybe figure something out, for you, and so he could now, and he joins. And that is now the first What If. Yeah. It is now the Fantastic Five.
Yeah, the Fantastic Five. Through all the issues, it's one of the best that they ever did. Was the first.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah, because it's very attentive to the details of the original Fantastic Four stories and Spider-Man stories. Because then it tells the story going forward of Spider-Man being on the team, but then they go through all the different villains that the Fantastic Four fought at that time.
Along with some spider villains too, that
right?
Beat really fast. Because of them. And, but they also do the don't worry, we'll figure out something so you can take care of your aunt. Because that was the whole thing. I need to take care of my sick aunt.
Yes, because he unmasks to him and tells him the story.
Yes, yeah, but then they have him unmask in front of the public because the Fantastic Four don't have secret identities, and J. Jonah Jameson is very upset.
Yeah, that's a good part in that book, because he still tries to paint Spider-Man as a menace, and then he gets shouted down in front of this press conference, and then
because the Fantastic Four, everyone loves the Fantastic Four, so everyone's like, "Oh, fuck you, Jonah."
Pretty much ruins his career. Right there. I haven't read this one in years, so I'm a little spotty on some of the details. It ends up with, of course, the running story throughout is because Spider-Man's on the team now, Sue Storm, the Invisible Girl, kind of gets pushed further to the background and neglected by Reed, even more so. And at the time, if you're a fan of Fantastic Four comics, you know that the Submariner was kind of in competition for Sue's affections. This was before before Sue and Reed were married. And so by the end of it, they go to Atlantis to take on the Submariner. And this would have been, I think, was it the first Fantastic Four annual? It was one of those stories. Maybe not that one, but one of the, I don't know, maybe in the 20s of the Fantastic Four.
It was around there. It was around there. And the deal being that Submariner kidnaps her and converts her into an Atlantean.
Yes.
And in the comics, they rescue her. And and in this one, she's like, "You know what? Reed, if you like fucking Peter more than you like fucking me, then I'm just going to stay here with Namor." And that's the big, we were saying, one of the things they did with these What Ifs is they didn't want to give you an ending that made you go, "That's better than what we read monthly."
Right.
There was a definite, don't make this something that is better than what happened. because then people would want, why didn't they do that?
Mm-hmm.
So it ends with, it's back to the Fantastic Four because the Invisible Girl is no longer in there and she's with Namor, and which leads to one of the only sequels they did.
Yes. Yep. There was a sequel 20 issues later that we'll touch on. The ending is it's poignant because Spidey feels guilty at the end, and he's saying, well, maybe if I didn't join the group, this wouldn't have happened. And the Torch pulls him aside and says, no, what happens is what happens. There's no such thing as, other possibilities or whatever. And of course, us reading know, like, the irony of that statement is like that's wrong. It wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah.
And speaking of things that come later, Fantastic Four wise, they really did so much great stuff in What If, because I think, and we'll get to it, possibly the most sad and poignant but well written What If has to do with Fantastic Four and the Invisible Girl. Not surviving something.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that one in a bit. I just thought of that one, dude. I was like, we need to talk about that one.
Yeah.
It wasn't, we didn't do that in our pre-show planning. I'm like, oh fuck, I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was probably the best one they've ever done.
Yeah. We'll get
it's
to
a teaser, kids.
Teaser. That was one of the ones I had of the original run when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
So then the second issue is, what if the Hulk had the brain of Bruce Banner, which, wasn't that original of a premise since that had happened actually a few times. Yeah. Temporarily, of course. In the original Hulk issues, I think in like the first 6 issues that they did before it was canceled, they experimented a lot. And I think one of the ones was he had Banner's brain at one point.
He does. He gets Banner's brain, but then the Hulk just becomes a rougher version of Bruce.
Right.
He's kind of like Thing-like. With his speech, and...
Yeah. Or like
those first 6 issues of the Hulk, yeah.
Yeah, like the later Gray Hulk version.
Exactly, which actually that's what they played on.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the Hulk comic book started... it lasted 6 issues and was canceled because it was not a hit.
Yep.
And if you read those original 6, it is all over the place. They're trying to figure out what they're doing with him. And at the end, he can talk, and everything, and he's wearing tights.
Yeah,
he's got purple fucking like wrestler tights.
Yeah.
And stuff. They really, and it just didn't go anywhere. They had to reinvent that character.
Yeah, and they did kind of slowly over the next few years, and then he got his series again. So the second issue of What If is based on basically, I think right from the get-go, he always has the brain of Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And is never, a savage. I don't remember a ton about this issue. Johnny, what are your...
I never read this. It was one of the ones I never got my hands on.
Okay. I do have it. And, of course, I've read it, but it's been a long time. Yeah, I think Herb Trimpe, who was the artist of the Hulk in the 70s and late 60s, did the art for this one, if I'm not mistaken. So that
he at least did the cover.
Yeah, and I always loved his art on the Hulk. But yeah, kind of a forgettable one since neither.
It had a great cover.
Yeah, it does.
It was like the Thunderbolt Ross is looking at you.
Yeah.
And pointing, we should kill the Hulk, and Betty's like, no, it's the brain of the man I love.
Well, no, actually, I have the cover in front of me. He says,
"Stop! Like
Don't shoot. He may be a green-skinned monster.
He's my son-in-law.
But he's also my son-in-law."
That's it. That's it. I knew it was something like that.
Yeah. And it says, "We dare you to guess our startling shock ending." And I can't remember what that shock ending was. I don't think it was that terribly shocking, really. So on to one that I sort of remember better. It's the third issue, and that was What If the Avengers Had Never Been? And this had art by Gil Kane, who was one of the heavyweights of the 60s and was around pretty much for the whole 70s, but was kind of phoning it in if for Marvel for most of the 70s.
If you like nostrils,
Yes.
you will love Gil Kane.
Yeah, he got to the point where almost every cover was identical to the last, with that big head tilted back and, looking up the nose of the person. The premise of this one was that after like the first mission or two, the Avengers split up, and just when the Hulk, who was an original member but left, then the Hulk ends up teaming up with the Submariner, who was kind of a tweener at the time. He was actually more of a villain than a hero at this point in time, and so him and the Hulk team up, and Iron Man's kind of left alone to take them on, and he ends up basically getting killed at the end. As Iron Man dies at the end of this one. Thor, I think, goes back to Asgard or something. He's completely
like that,
gone. Yeah, and Giant Man and the Wasp do come back, and Iron Man comes up with other suits of armor, and then they end up wearing them because they needed like this extra power to take on both the Hulk and the Submariner combined, without Thor there as the heavy hitter. And I think Rick Jones even gets a suit of armor, if I'm not mistaken. Johnny, did you ever read this one?
I did, but once a long time ago. It was weird. You understand, for the listeners, you never knew what you were going to find on your newsstand for comics. And What If was very weird. One month it'd be there, and one month it wouldn't be. And especially these earlier issues, like I said, I got most of these from being like handed down or finding them at a flea market. And we used to go to flea markets on every weekend. So some of these were like you were lucky to get your hands on them. And I remember having this one, but I just don't. It doesn't. Nothing resonates.
Yeah. I just remember the art from it and the final battle with everyone in the Iron Man outfits against the Hulk and Submariner. They were kind of throwing ideas.
But again, it had an ending where aren't you glad the Avengers did stay together?
Yeah, exactly. and a great cover too. With the cover is the Hulk and Submariner like closing in on Iron Man, while the others, Giant Man, Wasp, and Thor,
walking away,
turn their back and are walking away.
Yes, are walking away.
Yeah, so it's a really cool cover.
Fuck you, Tony.
So number 4 is what if the Invaders had remained a team after World War II? And so we touched on the Invaders briefly already. The 1940s basically version of the Avengers that didn't exist in the actual comics of the 1940s. There was the All Winners Squad
later,
but during World War II, there wasn't really a team.
No, not at all.
That was being published in the 40s. Retroactively, when Roy Thomas created these comics, they were made to have existed in the 40s, if that makes sense. So this one, I never owned this one as a kid. I did get a torrent of these a few days ago to get some of the ones I didn't have, scans of them. And so I went through this one. It was illustrated by the same artist that was doing the Invaders comic at the time, Frank Robbins. Is that his name?
He was not good.
Yeah, he had a very unique look to his art.
A very rushed look to his art.
I guess he did all the Invaders comics at the time. Yes, Frank Robbins. And so this one is a kind of a strange one in that it's not really a what if story, because it actually tells the story of something that did officially happen in the continuity of the Marvel universe. I've never, like, I read this one a few days ago, and I didn't really understand what had happened differently in this version, because basically it tells the story of what happened after Captain America was frozen in ice, and Bucky died, and then they go on with a new Captain America, who was the character, the Spirit of 76, who was a obscure 40s superhero, and a new Bucky, and they go on from there in the late 40s as the Invaders. But I know this story is actually accepted as part of the official canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Johnny, any thoughts on the fourth issue of What If?
I remember reading this one. I loved the Invaders. When I was a kid, I got into this huge World War II thing. Anything World War II just really grabbed me. And I loved the Invaders comics. And again, another book that more often than not, you found copies at flea markets and garage sales and not always on the rack. But I loved it. And this was not like, there was no like huge what if story to this.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. The art is, I remember the art in the Invaders. If it was this guy, whoever was inking it then was doing a better job, because this is really sketchy. And it's one of the things you see in these what ifs is a lot of rushed art.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of rushed art and rushed storytelling.
Yeah.
Some of these things that if you go back and read these you're going to think, oh, this is just nothing. It's not that great. But yet they were a product of the times. Yeah. Comic books were not for grown-ups. They're for little kids and teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
These were for teenagers. And they, like in this one, there's some cool shit in it, like with Spirit of 76 and the Patriot.
Yes, yeah.
At the end, taking over the role of Captain America.
Yeah.
And yes, they did roll all this into the continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they had the 1950s fake Captain America and fake Bucky, who becomes Nomad.
Yep.
And they all get in this. And the best is like, you get to see the Submariner. You used to have this like badass submarine plane. They take everywhere. And they do the thing where like they meet Truman. He's like, and Truman's like, you're not the Invaders anymore because there's no more war. What we're going to call you now is the All Winners Squad. And they actually acknowledge, like, that's kind of a dumb name, but whatever. He's the president. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
We're the All Winners Squad. Like, what?
Everybody's a winner. Yeah.
Everybody's a winner. That's like school now.
Yeah,
or athletics for kids. It's the All Winners Squad. There's no losers. But that included also the Wizard and Miss America.
Yep.
And these really like mid-level. There were so many forgotten mid-level superheroes or lower levels, not just in Marvel but in DC as well. It's just tons of them. Tons. It was comic books in the 40s were so huge, and superheroes were so huge. There's just so many characters that everyone's forgotten about.
Yeah, well, I think
Roy Thomas loved these characters. That's why you saw they were brought back in DC wise, the All-Star Squadron so well, and they did a decent job in Invaders too, with like bringing these characters back. They had like, there was the other team, the Freedom Force or whatever, and had the Thin Man. It was like he was supposed to be like a stretchy guy, but he got thin.
Yeah,
and Toro, the character of Toro.
Right.
Is back then, after the success of Robin in Batman, everyone had to have a teenage sidekick. And Marvel, even Bucky for Captain America right away. Yep. The Human Torch was kind of a scary character. they introduced Toro, who is an orphan from a carnival.
That's right.
Who could set himself on fire. Who has all of the same powers as the Human Torch. He can flame on, fly, throw fireballs, everything. He's a little Human Torch, but he's totally human. The Human Torch is an android.
Yeah.
So Toro is one of the first mutants
That's right.
ever shown. They've retroed it that he was a mutant even then. He was one of the first mutants.
Right.
But at the time, it was like the Human Torch just accidentally finds a kid who never wears anything except his underwear. Ever. Toro goes to meetings in his little tights, and always in his tights. He never wears. And the Human Torch himself has like a full bodysuit.
Yeah,
that's red.
Yeah.
Toro walks around in nothing but a Speedo all the time. It's great.
Yeah.
I love the Invader. So, I really liked this story.
Yeah.
I hadn't read it since, I was a kid, and I reread this. I was like, boy, the art is just abysmal. But the story itself is really good. It's a really good story.
Yeah, well, the quality of art in 70s comics is something that's, it was an issue. Definitely. A lot of rushed stuff, a lot of...
Well, especially like stuff like this.
Yeah. I mean, What If almost has like a different artist every issue, essentially. I mean, Roy Thomas, I don't know why they didn't have a regular artist. I mean, Thomas wrote all the issues, but...
Well, because it was a great way to give some people a job. I'm sure there was lots of freelancers who got to do a What If.
Yeah.
There was really good art, though, at the time, man. Fantastic Four had a young George Perez right around this time killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man always had good art.
Right.
Ross Andrew and everything. So there was a lot of really good stuff, but the bad was really bad.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, no, there was, a lot of good stuff. But yeah, there was a lot of just like abysmal stuff with names that you'd never heard of before or again that just faded away and only did a few issues here and there.
Well, like I said, I think maybe a lot of freelancers got a shot at a What If.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. So from there, we have one of the issues that I do fondly remember from the original series. That's number 5. It's What If Captain America hadn't basically been frozen in ice at the end of World War II. Hadn't vanished during World War II is the official title. This one was really cool because it tells like the long story of Captain America after World War II, and going through the 40s into the 50s, getting older, and then eventually being around when the new superheroes return, or new superheroes come on the scene in the early 60s. And, so it's really good at the details of history and inserting this older Captain America into the stories that we are familiar with from the regular continuity, and little cool touches like, the Avengers ask Captain America to join the team, but in this reality, he's older, he's 20 years older, and he declines the offer and says, no, it's sort of a young man's game, and he was kind of phasing himself out of the superhero biz at that point. And eventually Bucky, who lived as well, replaces him as the new Captain America, and Rick Jones becomes the new Rick Jones, who was the Hulk's sidekick originally, but then became the Avengers sidekick, and then
became everyone's sidekick.
Basically he just gleamed onto one superhero after the next, and so it eventually became like Cap's kind of partner. So he becomes the new Bucky, and that was based on a story that happened in the regular continuity when Jim Steranko did a 3-issue run where Rick Jones became the new Bucky. It's very fondly remembered. But anyway, in this story, the new Captain America, Bucky, is killed in a battle with the Hulk. That was part of that Steranko mini run there for Captain America. So, of course, you have the tragic ending in this universe or in this reality. But
Uh,
yeah, this one was cool because it touched on so many different storylines over the years, and it was cool to see like a character because you know how characters in comics never age. They've been published since the 40s or whatever, but they're still essentially the same age as they were then. It was always cool to see a story where they actually aged a character sort of in real time, and so you got to see Captain America actually grow older, and so that was a cool part of that. So this is one of my
the whole what can we do with Captain America being frozen became a what if trope. They did
totally.
a lot of
Totally.
variations on that.
Yeah, and often they were really well done, actually.
They really were.
Yeah. There's another one from from the original series near the end that is actually one of the last really good what ifs, I would argue, of the original.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And
What if Captain America were unfrozen today?
yes, and
Yeah, and it's worth reading because if you look at our political situation of today,
yeah.
that one really calls you're like oof. that one, Americans in a totalitarian society.
Yeah.
And it's him and Spider-Man,
yes.
I believe.
Yeah, and
resistance fighters. It's good.
Yeah, well, we may as well touch on it now. It's the 43rd issue or 44th, getting near the end. The cover is cool. It shows Captain America standing there like dripping with water because he's just been unfrozen.
Right.
And it shows, what if he was revived today? It was actually...
it shows like, and next was like this chart. This is like 1940, 1950, 1960, yeah.
Yeah, 1980 now. And the art was by Bill... How do you pronounce his name? He was the artist...
Sienkiewicz?
Yeah. He did the New Mutants in the 80s and had a very, very unique style, to say the least. He was doing the covers for
the style I didn't much care for
as a kid. No, because it was way
but in this issue I loved it. I loved it.
He was just doing the covers actually at this time. But yeah, his art was definitely for an older fan to appreciate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he was doing the interior art for New Mutants at the time, and it was kind of a 20-something comic book fan sensation that if you were in college age comic book fan, you really loved his art. But anyways, yes, like Johnny mentioned, it's Cap, wasn't brought out of ice in the 60s, and as a consequence, they brought back the 50s Cap, the commie smasher, Captain America, who was revealed in the 70s in the regular continuity to be, insane essentially.
Yes.
And so they bring him back. It's like a political party, I guess. They bring back the 50s Cap, who had been also not frozen, but put in suspended animation with Bucky. And they bring them back, and they're presented to the public as being the original Captain America and Bucky, and they're used by this political party to gain power. And America, of course, it becomes like a dystopian future with a very radical right-wing government.
Yeah.
And then the resistance side discovers the original Captain America, frozen in ice, in 1983 instead of 1963, and they put together a team with, Spider-Man's one of the members of the Resistance, and they go to fight the other Captain America at like a political rally. There's a lot of
death in this one.
Yeah,
there's a lot of death in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of death. I think Spider-Man dies at the end.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and
it's I don't think he had the powers. He was just Peter Parker.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I think you're right. Yeah, he was just Peter Parker, not Spider-Man. And so it has well, I think he does defeat the evil Captain America at the end. But
I guess he does, and because he has the end, it's like we need to come together and rebuild.
Yeah, basically, he's got a long road ahead of him because America's gone to hell.
It's one of the best what ifs. I think.
Yeah, it's up there. they would do couple attempts at it in the second series. There was a good one. It was a two-parter where Cap is the Red Skull. It turns out that the Red Skull replaces himself as Captain America and then becomes the evil Captain America. Where so Cap is still frozen, but in this reality, the Red Skull impersonates Captain America.
By the way, in What If comics, in these old ones, whatever, apparently in the new ones, the 90s ones as well, the idea of the Red Skull has disguised himself as somebody.
Yeah.
And turns out I am the Red. That becomes a What If trope, apparently, because it happens a bunch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
in these stories.
He did that, a few times in the regular continuity too. So he becomes.
Yeah. He's always hiding.
So he becomes the new Captain America, and of course turns America, fascist, and then they have to bring the real Captain America back to save America yet again. So yes, they've revisited this premise several times.
Which is always a great little premise, is that if you just present something and there's an evil behind it, America will fall for it like a motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're just, you know what? Donald Trump is running for president. Let me just leave it at that. He's going to rip off that wig and have he's got the Red Skull.
Yes.
And we're going to need Captain America to come and get unfrozen.
Yeah, we got to go
and fix this shit.
We got to go to the North Pole and get him out of ice ASAP.
Please.
We're running out of time here.
Dr. Ben Carson is Zemo.
Yeah. He's got his whole team. Yeah. Zemo and oh fuck, that's awesome. Hopefully it will be what if Donald Trump became the president of the United States, not the alternative.
I am Captain America.
Oh, crazy. Okay. Next was number 6. It was the what if the Fantastic Four had different powers? Which kind of sounded cool on paper. The execution of this story wasn't too great. The new FF it reads like, a bunch of like a fan's, fantasy booking or fantasy writing or whatever, and not too great. The new team we have is Mandroid, and that's Johnny Storm, who's like half man, half robot. We have Reed Richards as Big Brain, who's just a floating brain. Ultra Woman is Sue Storm, and she's basically Mr. Fantastic. She's got the elastic powers. And the Thing, or Ben Grimm, is Dragonfly. He's got purple wings and can fly. Yeah. So that's your new team.
You know what? This is one of the ones I never read, but I know the cover.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because the cover shows them fighting the real Fantastic Four, which doesn't happen in the book. The book is just a story of the new team, I believe, going through sort of like the early adventures of the Fantastic Four.
Who could love me with these purple wings? I'm so sad. A blind girl.
Yeah.
You have wings. I don't mind.
Yeah, the torment of Ben Grimm just isn't there with the purple wings.
It's the major selling point, which I'm glad they eventually got rid of, but was Ben Grimm's torment. I've got purple wings, Alicia. I could never love you. Why not? Well,
who would love a man with purple wings?
Who would love a man with purple wings? I'm blind, dummy. I don't give a shit.
Oh, okay. So that was resolved really quickly in this universe. Yeah. I haven't read this one in years. Apologies if it really was a classic issue and I'm just not remembering it.
I doubt it.
The next one, though, was a memorable one. It's the first completely Spider-Man or complete Spider-Man centered issue. And that's what if someone else besides Spider-Man had been bitten by the radioactive spider. And it has 3 different stories in it. Yeah, with 3 characters. Flash Thompson, of course, Spider-Man's rival in high school. Colonel John Jameson, USAF, who was J. Jonah Jameson's astronaut son. And third,
who became Manwolf.
Manwolf, which is a story I still remember vividly because my first experience with that story was. Do you remember those?
The Record?
The Record, yeah.
I had it too, brother.
Yeah, okay.
I had it too. The record player one.
Man,
yeah, it was
that
awesome.
Scared the living shit out of me.
It was scary as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
It was scary as fuck. Oh, loved it.
Oh, the transformation into Manwolf, the way they described it and acted it out on the record.
Yep. It was great.
I'm not sure who made those. There was quite a few of them.
I had all of them. The one was another one was an issue of Captain America and the Falcon where they fight Baron Zemo's son called the Phoenix. There was a Fantastic Four one where it's just the Thing recounting the origin. There was a bunch of them. I had an album of Spider-Man adventures.
Wow.
But the one that is like when they have to, Spider-Man has to rip the goddamn, the moon jewel out of Manwolf's throat to cure him. And it is on paper and on record fucking grotesque and scary as shit. Yeah.
They have the sound effects.
So good. Yeah, totally. Holy fuck, dude. Yeah. Oh, those were awesome.
Yeah, I don't remember how I came across or I came into possession of these. They sort of, I guess they were still selling them in toy stores. There was also DC ones because I had a Batman one with the Man-Bat's origin, which was equally horrifying.
Here's the neat thing they did because they gave you a comic book.
Yes.
With them, but the comic was adapted. You could see where they like wiped out there was too many words. Right. And would write in their own words. It'd be some like giant Stanley exposition bubble, and there'd be just wow written in it.
Yeah.
But those were. For those of you who don't know what the fuck we're talking about, Marvel and apparently DC too, I didn't even know did it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we had these things called records, and we played them on these things called record players. And they released these companion piece things where you'd read a comic. It was a reprint of a comic with some of the words changed to fit on a 45 record that you'd listen to while you read the comic. It helped people learn how to read, and it was a lot of fun. But this Manwolf one with Spider-Man was fucking scary. Scary as shit, dude. Oh, goddamn. Oh, yeah.
Dude,
I had no idea. That. I haven't even thought about that in 40 years.
Yeah. It's just because that's how I first encountered the Manwolf character was through that one. And I always remember that. Always.
Yeah. Manwolf was a werewolf wearing a leotard, a green and yellow leotard, but he was scary as fuck.
Oh man, yeah. So that's some obscure bit of comic book memorabilia for you. So anyway, back to the what if story. The third story was focused on Betty Brant, who was J. Jonah Jameson's secretary and Peter Parker's first crush back at the beginning. And this one was good. Basically, in Flash Thompson's reality, he dies early on because he wasn't a scientist like Peter was, so he didn't invent the spider webs, the webs. So when he was fighting the Vulture, and they get really high into the sky, and he loses grip on the Vulture, he has no way to save himself, so he plummets to his death. And the ironic touch for that story was that Peter Parker idolizes Spider-Man. Whereas in reality, Flash Thompson idolized Spider-Man, and so there's that. And Parker finds Thompson's body, And so that one ends on a down note. I don't remember a lot about the Colonel John Jameson one, other than he has a rocket pack that allows him to fly as Spider-Man. I don't remember his fate exactly.
All I remember is the Flash one because it was brutal, and there was one other sad ending, and they gave one of them a happy one.
Yeah. Well,
one of them got a happy ending.
Betty Brant becomes Spider-Girl, but they all end with Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man. He takes Flash Thompson's blood and injects it into himself. Similar things with the others, and then the Watcher, Uatu, says at the end, well, it was fate that Peter Parker became Spider-Man. There was no escaping this, no matter what reality, he have always become Spider-Man. So that was the end of that one. But that was a cool one, because that was one I can remember stumbling upon it in the comic book racks, the back issue racks, not being aware that it even existed. And then just finding it, it was like, cool, wow, a Spider-Man issue that I wasn't aware of. So, yeah, that was.
And at this time, I want to mention when I was talking about the burst of the 70s, even if the comic book business wasn't as strong, the character of Spider-Man.
Yes.
Was huge. If it was a Spider-Man book, it sold.
Yeah.
Maybe not everything was selling, but Spider-Man was selling.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the 70s, you hear about people going, oh, the business was in the shitter, but they kept putting out more and more Spider-Man books.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man merchandise.
Yeah.
It was huge in the 70s.
Yeah. He was the number one seller for Marvel until the new X-Men took off.
Even toys. I mean, I had the Spider-Man web shooters,
right?
As a kid, which was the old, the rubber, the rubber things that you had to make them wet and so they'd stick. The sucker shit.
Yeah.
But they had strings attached to them, so you go and shoot it against the refrigerator, and it would stick, and there was a string.
Yeah.
Tons of that shit.
Yeah, there was all kinds of stuffed dolls. I had I had a stuffed doll of Spider-Man.
I had the Magos. I had DC and Marvel.
Right.
I had most of the Magos.
Yeah.
Dolls.
Great. Those I could only find in like bargain bins because by that time they weren't being made anymore. But yeah.
Oh no, I'm old enough to where they were in the stores.
Yeah. No,
they all had cloth. Yeah,
the cloth.
The thing was, was cloth. You could take off his thing outfit.
Yeah, no, I remember my youth was the bargain bins at the toy stores were all toys from the 70s. So you'd have those. You'd have the $6 Million Man. I remember.
I had that too.
I remember buying one or having my parents buy me a $6 Million Man doll. Like 5, 6, 7 years after the show was off the air, but they still had the toys in the bargain bins.
Oh, I had a fucking Steve Austin.
Yeah.
The Steve Austin.
Yeah.
In his red tracksuit.
Yes. I had the one with the plaid blazer and the turtleneck, I think.
No, was that him or no? That was Oscar.
No, it wasn't. I thought or maybe it wasn't even. I thought it was Steve Austin, but I don't know.
No, that was his boss, Oscar.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
I vividly remember the plaid jacket that you could take off.
His boss, Oscar, had the plaid jacket.
Okay.
They had a doll of him. And then they had because they had a villain called Maskatron. And you could put different heads, faces on him and shit.
Yeah.
All that shit.
No, I missed out. I only got the leftovers, apparently. So anything to say about the Spider-Man issue, Johnny?
Nah, I remember it, but it wasn't anything gripping. They do that every now and then. Do we have enough for an entire issue? No?
No.
Can we do 3?
Let's do 3.
Sure. Let's do fucking 3.
That's true. It became a reoccurring theme, the 3-part
oh, yes, it did.
issues.
It did.
Yeah. And they were usually subpar. So the next one, number 8, What If the World Knew Daredevil Was Blind? I've never read.
I love this one.
Oh, okay. Well, you can.
I love
talk
this
about
one. I
this
don't
one.
remember a lot about it, but I remember it being really good. The villain was the owl.
Yep.
God, I can remember the fucking the cover.
Yep.
In my
I'm
head.
looking at it right now.
And it was that was just it is that they didn't know a secret identity, but everyone knew Daredevil was blind, and it just ended with a big adventure. Gosh, I don't remember much about it, but I remember it was one of the better ones. It was one of the better stories. At a time where Daredevil was, it was before the revamp.
Yeah.
Not revamp. It
Before
was before
Miller.
Before Miller.
Yeah.
And Daredevil was this character that it was like hard to find the comics and the old ones. And there was a mystique almost about the fucking character. And all I remember about this one is that it was really good. There was gosh, like I said, the storyline I can't even think of it. I just remember this was one of the better ones of the time. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Daredevil until I was older. So as a kid, I wasn't into him. So yeah, this one was one of that I avoided. I should have actually downloaded it with that file that I had a few days ago of the ones I didn't hadn't read.
I mean, like I said, I haven't read it. And the last time I read that I was a teenager,
right?
Going through like my old collections, and remember thinking it was still pretty fucking good. And that was 30 years ago,
right? So, oh yeah, but no, I just I should have got it just to check it out because I do I got into Miller Daredevil and other eras of Daredevil, and I really like the character now, but at the time I wasn't a Daredevil fan, so I avoided it. So the next issue is one we've touched on already. What if the Avengers had fought evil during the 50s?
Yes,
and
that one.
This one for me was a disappointment because the cover is done by the great Jack King Kirby. Yep. And I love Kirby, always have, and so it's a great cover with the 50s hero in the 50s heroes in the foreground, and in the background you got Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor looking at them, and saying "Avengers Assemble." And so the characters you have are Marvel Boy, who becomes Quasar, 3D Man, who was I love the costume.
I love 3D Man had the coolest fucking costume.
Yeah, that's an awesome costume. Venus, who was she had her own comic in the 50s. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
The Gorilla Man.
And the robot dude.
The human robot.
Human robot.
So I thought buying this issue I was going to get a Kirby illustrated comic book. And so I was very disappointed when I flipped open the cover and realized, hey, this isn't Kirby art. So that kind of, lowered my interest in the story. I don't even remember too much about the story. I think it had something to do with was Nixon a character in
it was. Dude, I barely remember anything about this, but I remember liking it. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the really far out ones.
Yeah,
because it was a bunch of characters I'd never heard of.
No,
or barely knew of, because they had at that point Marvel Boy and had been brought back in Fantastic Four.
Yep,
as a villain, and I sort of, it really grabbed me. It was one of those I just remember really enjoying it because it was totally different. And that's really all I can remember about it. I don't remember the plot. I think Nixon was involved. That's it. They definitely did a whole 1950s McCarthyism take on it. Really, I'd like to go back and check that one out. I remember thinking it was really well done.
Yeah. No, I should have cracked some of these out of the boxes.
Yeah, for at the time, when we say well done, a lot of these modern comic fans will look back and go, boy, that's the most heavy-handed nonsense I've ever.
Right.
Like, of the day, of the time, you know, you have to. It's the way comics were written. You know, there was a lot of heavy-handed, you know, when they tried to get serious and political.
Oh, totally.
You know,
No, you gotta,
as we'll get to when Captain America becomes the president of the United States.
talk about heavy-handed. But this was a Roy Thomas concept.
Yes, totally.
So, you know, he loved the old characters, the obscure characters. So,
well, that explains why I think I remember it well, because I think when I say it was well written, because Roy Thomas was fucking a beast.
yes, he was. So yeah, that's definitely a unique one from the first few issues. The next one,
I can't imagine it sold well.
No, it was so obscure. Like, I hesitated buying it. Well, maybe not though, because I was a fan of Kirby and I did like the history already, you know, even then. So I was interested with these older characters.
But I'm just thinking in 1977,
Yeah.
on the newsstand,
Oh yeah.
Kids going, what?
Exactly. There's quite a few of those coming up that you had to wonder, you know, why why did they think this was going to sell this concept? But they were basically doing anything at this time.
Oh yeah.
And the next issue is even kind of a head scratcher in a way. It's what if Jane Foster had found the hammer of Thor?
I love this one so much.
Okay, this is another one I've never read.
Oh, this is one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. The concept is, and the cover is a recreation of the very first appearance of Thor.
That's right.
From Journey into Mystery.
Yep.
83.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. 83.
Yep. Nerdy. I can remember that. I don't know how to do my taxes. And it's, you know, the same thing with those stone men from Saturn coming down, but it's a chick Thor. And this is one of the ones, again, where they show you a history of what was going on, but with a chick Thor instead of the male Thor. The concept being that Don Blake, when he finds the hammer of Thor, this time he's not alone. He's with his nurse.
Right.
And she gets the hammer. It becomes like Thorina or some.
Thordis.
Thordis, yeah. But then they show all these things where instead of it being Dr. Don Blake trying to find a way to go hide and hit his walking staff, she converts the walking staff into what the fuck is it? She has it like whittled down to something a girl would carry. It was a hairbrush.
Oh my God, really?
And she would hit the hairbrush and turn into Thordis. And they like all the great Thor stories of that day, like fighting Mr. Hyde and the Cobra and Loki and what have you.
Right.
Giving like these 3-panel recreations of these classic stories, but with her instead of Thor. And then, you know, of course, ends up where brought up to Asgard and Odin's just like, well, what the fuck? But she's done a great job. And they do the whole thing where they bring up Don Blake and they, you know, make him Thor. But because she's done such a good job, she's given Asgardian powers as well. It was one of the few happy endings they did at the time. Yeah. And it was really good. It was really fucking fun.
Damn, I should have downloaded this one too. Because I'm a huge Thor fan, and I was even then, but I don't know, something about it. I always avoided this one.
Check it out, man. This is one of my favorite comics from my childhood.
I'm looking at the cover now online, and it's like you said, it's the recreation of the Journey into Mystery cover, but you have Thor in a box looking down on the scene, and this is his quote.
What?
By the sacred beard of Odin.
By the sacred beard of Odin, I have a pussy.
The sacred beard of Odin.
Oh, there's a lot of misogyny in this one, but at the end it comes out on top, you know, like they do a thing where she shows up because in the original Thor comics, Thor doesn't go to Asgard for a while.
That's right.
He's Don Blake, and he has the powers. And they do that one where she shows up, and Odin is like, "What the fuck? No!" And she's rejected,
Oh,
uh,
great.
and he just to win him over.
Oh,
What the fuck, pussy? Fuck you.
oh, and this is very,
It's really good. It's really good.
yeah, this is very timely now because isn't the current Thor Jane Foster?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's apparently really good, or a lot of people I've seen praise that.
Yeah, I've heard good stuff about it.
Yeah.
But it is funny. I did read that. I was doing some research on this.
Yeah.
They were talking about what ifs have become reality.
Yes.
And they're like, well, Jane Foster is Thor now.
It only took them 30 plus years. Wow, that's crazy though.
Well, the best is Sif. The best is Sif having to deal with the fact that her intended is now a chick, and even then, back then, I was a kid. Something about that fucking turned me the fuck on. I'm like, I don't. Why do I think this is hot? I'm eight. I don't. Something about this I think is really cool.
The first awakenings of a lesbian obsession in a young
Yep,
Johnny
exactly. Thank you, Marvel.
Oh, fantastic. So moving on now to issue number 11, which is a landmark what if story. Perhaps the most obscure, offbeat, strange concept. This is what if the original Marvel bullpen had become the Fantastic Four. Now, for those of you listening that don't know what the Marvel bullpen was, it was basically the office of Marvel Comics in the early 60s or in the 60s of Stan Lee and the artists and editors. And it was referred to, in the comics, like the early Marvel comics,
Bullpen.
Yeah, the bullpen. Lee always, made the whole experience sound like being part of a fun family group, and that was what made Marvel stand out, or one of the things that made Marvel stand out from DC.
Completely.
Yeah,
completely.
Was this inclusive atmosphere that he created, and giving everyone personalities and everything. And
like everyone had every creator. They did like the Stan's bullpen updates in the books and and everything to where you were under the impression that is the greatest place in the world to work.
Exactly.
That must be so awesome.
Yeah. So this was and they would do this from time to time in Marvel, doing these referential comics. Not Brand Ek was one that
Not Brand Ek. Yeah.
in the 60s. A parody, like a Mad Magazine inspired sort of.
And Brand Ek was DC.
Yes, Brand Ek was DC, because that was one thing that Lee would put forth in his columns and stuff, was this rivalry with DC Comics.
And it started as a Brand X,
That's right.
They're Brand X.
Yeah.
It was very similar wrestling fans to when WCW or under Bischoff would just attack WWF, or the way ECW did stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
There was lots of that. Like, you want to be cool, you read our shit. They're Brand X.
Yes.
An X. And what's funny though, but in the not Brand X comic, they only did one spoof of a DC comic. It was Superman. The rest, they spoofed their own comics.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They spoofed their own shit. They knew what they were doing because they didn't want to get into a copyright battle.
Exactly.
And then DC tried briefly to fight back and call in their letters to the editors that Marvel was Brand I, and I stood for imitation.
Right.
And because they put out like in Jimmy Olsen comics. Look, we've had comics for a long time where Jimmy Olsen is a reporter who's a teenager who works for a rough newspaper publisher, and has adventures. They're totally ripping Jimmy Olsen off for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No.
Slightly different. Yeah. Yeah, no, DC did, always come off looking, lame compared to Marvel.
At that time?
Yeah,
At that time,
totally. Yeah. Marvel was the cool thing. It was the hippest thing around in the 60s, comics wise. And
because it became Marvel Pop Art
yes.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that was when they tried a little too hard to tie themselves to like the New York hip scene.
Yes.
Yes.
We're not comic books. It's like Vince going, we're not wrestling, we're sports entertainment.
Yeah.
We're not comic books, we're pop art.
Pop art. Thankfully, that didn't take off. So anyway, yeah, the concept of this what if is what if the original Marvel bullpen had become the Fantastic Four. It's written and drawn by Jack King Kirby. So actually, yes, this one has a cover by Kirby, and inside is also art by Jack.
Great art.
Yes,
Great
very
art.
very good art. The Fantastic Four comprise Stan Lee, of course, as
Mr. Fantastic, of course.
Of course. Jack Kirby is the Thing, of course, which is natural also, with the cigars and everything. And Sal Brodsky, or Sol Brodsky.
Sol Brodsky.
He's
now the most Jewish Human Torch of all time.
He was I believe, the production manager. He was kind of like Stan's right-hand man for a long time, behind the scenes. And
he was a living Hanukkah.
Sol Brodsky's the Human Torch.
He's the human menorah.
And rounding out the quartet is Flo Steinberg as the Invisible Girl.
The most Jewish Fantastic Four of all time.
Exactly. All of them are Jewish. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Okay, the story is the Marvel bullpen is sent a package, and it irradiates cosmic rays, and they all get the powers of the Fantastic Four, and they have to produce comic books and battle Doctor Doom and the Submariner at the same time. Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
It is.
It's a giant jerk off. It's fucking ridiculous. It is also awesome. It's so much fun. It's all because it's Kirby art.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing that just makes it all work. Yeah, if it had been one of the temps like we were talking about doing this, no. And the fact that at that time, man, Jack was back and forth, and he had left Marvel and came back to Marvel briefly in the mid '70s, and they let him do this, and it looked so good. It's one of the most ridiculous things you'll ever read, but it's a shit ton of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty obscure. It was one I never bought. I had a chance to several times. It was always there. Like, it was always whenever I flipped through the back issues. No, What If number 11 was always available, but I avoided it every time. But I did read it just recently, the scan of it, and I
said I bought it at a comic book shop for like $1 or $2 because it was I'd never seen it before, and I'm like trying to get the most for my money during a comic book shop visit and get as many books as I can, and because it was in mint condition, I still have it. It's still in mint fucking condition. I never found a book in that much perfect condition, and I bought that like in 1981. It's the first time I had it, and to this day it's pristine. And like we were saying, there's like just tons of copies that no one fucking bought.
No, if I had to wager what was the lowest selling issue in the history of What If comics, I would put my money on this one.
But that was a thing, though, man. Stan had done such a good job at selling the fact that the creators were stars.
Right. Yeah.
That's a big thing. Whether or not he paid them accordingly is a different story.
Yeah.
But this idea that the Marvel bullpen were stars comes through in this. And of course, he's the top star.
Yeah.
Well, because he is.
Of course.
And Kirby is right there too.
Yeah.
So. But then Saul Brodsky, it could be like, it wasn't like Steve Ditko and Marie Severin, or
they should have put Ditko in there somehow.
Yeah, Steve Ditko is the Human Torch. Where's the torch? I don't know where the fuck he is. He didn't show up.
We only have one picture of him.
Wait, no, he's over there reading an Ayn Rand novel. Shit. Ugh. Where's Romita?
Yeah.
I don't fucking Herb Trimpe? Where's
Herb Trimpe, yeah.
Don Heck. Where the fuck is Don Heck?
Don Heck would be like Willie Lumpkin or something, maybe.
And like you said, they had to try to find a chick. And it was that, that one.
Yeah.
Because it was still the early 60s, man. It was like Mad Men.
Yeah, totally. Well, I've often thought they could do like a TV show on the original like Marvel bullpen, but like in a Mad Men type style, right?
Oh, I know. That'd be a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would.
Because they were about to fail.
Exactly, they were. Almost out of business.
They're just like, we'll put out monster comic books. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And Stan Lee, this Justice League thing that DC is doing, selling books. We should do a superhero thing with teams.
Yeah.
Okay, go. Fantastic Four. We're gonna make them all not like each other.
Yeah, totally. They were on the verge of going out of business. Totally. It's a really remarkable story. I did read a biography or a history of Marvel Comics that was written a few years ago, and it's excellent because it goes into the details of the creators and Flo Steinberg. Like she was interviewed extensively for it. So they have all the stories, how the original, they were joking about how the bullpen was like looked at by the fans as this wonderful place when in reality it was, in the corner of this big office,
right.
The owner of Marvel Comics also owned all these other magazines and
Martin Goodman.
Martin Goodman. And Marvel was considered the lowest on the totem pole of all of them. And the other writers for other magazines looked down on the comic book staff as being, working in the worst possible medium. And so it wasn't glamorous at all. At first it was, it was like one room, basically. They had no...
Yeah, but then by 64, they were just like, what now?
Yeah.
How you like us now?
Yeah.
By 64, and then come 67, I think there was like...
Yeah.
Sorry, we're a phenomena.
Yeah.
A phenomena by then.
Because it's an amazing story. They went from, the bottom to the top in about a decade, basically, and it's really, really cool. So, I mean, if you're a fan of Jack Kirby, check this issue out for sure. It was near the end for him as being a regular artist. He only had, I think, a year or so left, and then he would fade away. So I was great when I finally did get to read it a few days ago. I just put a smile on my face because I love Kirby, and it was great.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Did Joe Sennett ink it?
No, it was actually Mike Royer, who was one of the other great Kirby inkers. He did when Kirby went to DC. I believe Royer was his main inker there. So he's.
Oh, well, that makes sense because this looked very New Godsy.
Yes. Because it was just after he came back from DC and that last few years there. So it's a really good one. Okay, so
I got a copy. I'll sell it to anybody.
Yeah, it's in pristine
condition.
Never been opened. So anyway, at this point, we're going to take a break, and you can listen to some plugs from some other great shows on the PWO PTBN feed and also the strict PTBN feed. And we'll be right back.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
What's up, everybody? This is Kevin Kelly. Make sure you check out every episode of The Kevin Kelly Show right here on the Place to Be Nation. PlaceToBeNation.com. The Kevin Kelly Show. Every episode is a winner. At least we hope.
Place to Be Nation's Justin Rosero here. In addition to the Kevin Kelly Show, we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes and PlaceToBeNation.com. You can check out Scott Criscullo and me on the Mothership, the Place to Be podcast, home of great interviews and our famous Vintage Vault pay-per-view reviews. If you need your fix of current wrestling talk, we have plenty of options for you, including Main Event, which features a roundtable discussion led by PTBN analysts and special guests, and our monthly pay-per-view reaction shows, including immediate feedback and discussion for WWE, NXT, Ring of Honor, and New Japan Super shows. Also, be sure to relive wrestling's past with Graham Cawthon's excellent exclusive History of Wrestling podcast, Phil Schneider's Digging in the Crates, and our monthly pay-per-view rewind roundtable series led by Ben Morse. And join Pro Wrestling Only's Will and I on the Dangerous Alliance podcast as we dive into various subjects in the form of exercises and games. Sports fans have plenty to enjoy as well. We featured the Sports Evolution Mega Show with Scott, Dr. G, Cowboy, and Cowboy Sr., the Kings of Sport, led by Live Audio Wrestling's Godfather Nate Milton, as well as the NBA Team podcast, which takes a year-round deep dive into pro hoops, and the TJ McClune Show, featuring great guests from around the world of sports journalism. PTBN also proudly features the Richard the Mailman podcast, specializing in the world of TV, thought leadership, anger, and irreverence. As mentioned, all of these shows available on PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world. PTBN also is a home to tremendous in-depth features on pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus tournaments and more. We also want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar in West Warwick, Rhode Island, and Fall River, Massachusetts, Scott Keats, RSPWFAQ.com blog, and PileDriver.net.
Do you watch pro wrestling? Do you love pro wrestling? We do too. And there's only one podcast feed that you can't miss.
PWO PTBN Podcast Network. That's the Pro Wrestling Only Place to Be Nation Podcast Network.
We have a host of brilliant shows dedicated to wrestling past and present.
Whether it's the territories, Japan, Lucha, old school or new school, we've got something for you.
Get a dose of history on Exile on Bad Street with Chris Elner.
Listen to reviews of current pay-per-views on the PTBN reaction shows. Not just WWE, but New Japan, Ring of Honor, and NXT. And get your weekly update on everything else that's going on in the indies, Lucha, and beyond on This Week in Wrestling.
Relive WCW Supercards on Where the Big Boys Play with Parv and Chad.
Join Dylan Hales and Dave Musgrave on one of the very best shows for super hardcore nerds, wrestling culture.
Go deep into WWF history and discover the Bob Backlund and Bruno Sammartino eras on Titans of Wrestling.
Don't miss the Pro Wrestling Super Show with Stephen Graham and Tim Livingston.
You can get the full archive of Goodwill Wrestling with Good Old Will from Texas.
There's tag teams back again with Kelly and Marty Sleaze.
Then there's the only pro wrestling game show, Brainbuster, with me, Johnny Sorrow, and a panel of great guests every time.
Get them all on one feed.
PWO PTBN Podcast Network.
You know you want to hear it.
Okay, we're back, and now we're plugging along with the What If story. Next up was one that I really liked as a kid. It's What If Rick Jones had become the Hulk? And Rick Jones, of course, was the Hulk's sidekick. The origin of the Hulk is Bruce Banner pushing Rick out of the way because he had wandered onto
a ditch.
Into a ditch, that's right. He'd wandered on. No, he'd been bet by his friends that he didn't have the guts to go on to the.
Yeah, right. You don't have the guts to go out into the atomic.
Yeah, the gamma.
Atomic gamma. I'll show you. He's like Archie in his fucking jalopy, and Reggie had dared him to go out there.
Basically.
And the bomb goes off, and Bruce Banner's like, "There's a teenager out there," and rescues him, throws him into a ditch because you can hide in a ditch from the radiation of an atomic explosion. Yes. Duck and cover, kids. And Bruce Banner got the brunt of it. And in this one, Rick Jones did.
Yeah, Rick Jones decides to be a hero at the last second and throw Banner into the ditch, and he takes the brunt of the explosion. We could do a whole show, I think, on the Rick Jones character.
Oh, Rick Jones is a great character.
Fascinating. Basically, it was an attempt to cash in on the teenage craze of the late 50s, early 60s. DC had Snapper Carr.
Snapper Carr. Yeah, he was. I always thought Rick Jones would beat the fuck out of Snapper Carr. So,
of course.
Fuck Snapper Carr.
And Snapper Carr was based on, what was it, Cookie? Is that the character from
the 77 Sunset Strip?
Yeah.
Ed Kooky Burns.
Kooky, yeah.
Ed Kooky Burns. Kooky, lend me your comb.
Yes.
And he was Snapper Carr was the teenage hipster. He was supposed to be sort of that and something out of On the Road by Jack Kerouac.
Right.
He snapped his fingers all the time. Yeah, cool. And he was the Justice League's little sidekick.
Yeah.
And Rick Jones, they did this, introduced him in the Hulk as his plot device. And he became the Hulk's sidekick, but it worked a lot better.
Yes. And he became like an integral part of the story. He would join the Avengers later and have his teen brigade where he would...
the teen brigade with their ham radios. Their ham radios. They were podcasting before podcasting was cool, by the way.
Totally. Who would give updates to Rick, from around the country as I saw this villain in this area and stuff.
Right, and he would eventually, become the temporary Bucky, like we talked about. He would when Marvel had the Captain Marvel comic book, and they really wanted to do a little homage / ripoff of the original Shazam Captain Marvel, as they had Rick Jones be in this thing with Captain Marvel, to where they had to trade spaces.
Yeah.
Which was exactly the concept of Captain Marvel and Billy Batson.
Yeah.
Basically, to trade places. So Marvel totally ripped them off with that one.
Yeah, well, that was Roy Thomas again,
Exactly, yes.
A wink to the golden age of comics.
It was a total wink. It was, it wasn't a ripoff. It was a wink.
Yeah, it was
it was a wink.
It was at the same time that DC revived
Shazam,
right? So that was
where DC was on, because DC had put them out of business in 1959, and then just brought it back in 1971. Yeah. But they weren't allowed to use the name Captain Marvel as the title. Yeah. They could call the character that.
Yeah.
But that was the title. It had to be Shazam, because Marvel made their own Captain Marvel, and were smart enough to copyright it.
Yeah. I know, it's hilarious though, those stories. But Jones was all over the place, and this story goes through all those different phases of his career. Like, he becomes the Hulk, and he talks like a teenager, teenage Hulk, which is kind of charming.
Early 60s teenage Hulk. Hey, baby.
They could have gone all the way where he eventually ends up at Woodstock in 1969 or something like that.
Don't eat the brown acid. Don't eat the gamma rays. Yeah. Get off those towers. And Rick Jones jumps up on the towers. Get off those towers.
So and then they do the story where he becomes the second Bucky, but during a battle he reverts back to the Hulk, and so he leaves, and that ends that partnership. He does the Captain Marvel partnership too while he's the Hulk. So they go through all those phases, and I don't know. I really like this one. Sal Buscema does the art for this. He was pretty good.
I never cared for Sal.
Oh, really?
No, I never did. Of the classic artists of the day, I never cared for Sal Buscema.
Yeah.
I wasn't even a big John Buscema fan either.
Right. I could see that. He's an acquired.
They were both great at what they did. They were never my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he did a run later on Spider-Man when I was a big fan of.
I remember.
Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was on Spectacular. I didn't like it then either.
Yeah.
I didn't like him.
Yeah. So that's, I think, where my affinity for him came, because he was the artist, or one of the main artists of Spider-Man when I was a big fan. But yeah, this is this one's a bit of a hidden gem. I would recommend, if you're a fan of the Hulk, to check this one out, because it's faithful to the early stories. The next issue is one that was hyped for months. If you look at the original What Ifs in the next issue blurb at the end, this one was promised as the next issue, I think, about 3 or 4 times before it finally happened. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why it was delayed. But this one was one of the more famous ones from the original run. It's What If Conan the Barbarian Walked the Earth Today.
He'd be a pimp, motherfucker.
Yeah. The cover has him there's guys drawing guns on him. His woman that he's with is straight out of the disco era. It's some dirty alley in Manhattan. It looks like.
in dirty 1970s New York Times Square. Conan goes through time and becomes a fucking Superfly. Basically, is the gist of this. I haven't read this in forever, but it's the gist of it. Is Conan becomes a fucking New York City goddamn pimp.
Yeah, basically kind of like a gangster, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have this one. It's been years since I've read it.
It's good. I remember it being really good.
Yeah, it's like I said, one of the more famous ones. It was one of the more expensive ones to buy as a back issue. Was this one? Yeah, it's a great cover. I love that cover. It was John Buscema who did the art, who was the long time.
Man.
Yeah,
John Buscema was the Conan artist.
Long time Conan. Conan was such a popular character at that time too.
It really was. I mean, people don't realize just how huge those Conan comics were.
Yeah. And then
they never really, outside of What If, I don't think, did they ever tie in the Conan universe to Marvel outside of Red Sonja teaming and the Wizard dude. They had those great things with Spider-Man and those X-Men things. So the universe was tied in, but Conan himself, I don't think ever got brought in.
I don't think so. No, he was in a few more What If.
Kulin Guloth? Was it Kulin Guloth? Or?
I don't know. I don't recall this at all.
No, the Great Wizard. It was an issue of Marvel Team Up where Mary Jane becomes Red Sonja.
Yeah.
And years later, those 2 great issues of X-Men where he takes over Manhattan and turns it into Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a Conan villain.
Yeah.
But I don't think Conan himself, they ever did anything in him into the universe proper.
No, it was, it was probably maybe the most famous non-superhero or most popular non-superhero comic that Marvel produced.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
It was a big hit, and they had the adult version that they sold in like the Mega
Savage Sword.
Yeah, black and white with nudity. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like it was them competing a little bit with heavy metal.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because they did Epic Illustrated. They did a whole bunch of magazines.
Oh yeah, Epic Illustrated. Yeah.
Yeah, at that time. that were competing with heavy metal, like you said. Yeah, no, Conan was very ubiquitous when I was a kid growing up. There was the movie, of course. He was just all over the place. Very popular character. Now, back to another wacky edition of What If. The next one, this is the wackiest one of them all. This one is one that's pretty famous as being like, you'd see like smarky comic book fans, consider it like the worst What If ever. It's the premise is very strange. As a kid, I was completely, I didn't understand why this was happening, like why. So the concept is, what if Sergeant Fury had fought World War II in outer space? As a kid, I didn't understand why that was like an option. Where did reality, diverge?
They explain it.
Yeah, and they explain it, and it's interesting. I did download this one. It's crazy. Now, Johnny, you mentioned in our Facebook chat that this was because of the Star Wars craze.
Yes.
And that makes total sense because
it says it on the cover.
Yeah, the cover says first Star Wars, then Battlestar Galactica, and now
this.
the third, and that's like the three things you'd think of automatically. The third one would be Sergeant Fury fighting World War II in outer space. Well, I mean, at the time, James Bond, Moonraker was a total cash-in.
Exactly.
Total cash-in.
Everything was space.
Yeah.
For people who don't understand, when what you had in media was so limited as to nowadays, and Star Wars was so fucking huge. So everything, there were Saturday morning cartoons became Yogi Bear's Space Race and the space things, and Herculoids were brought back, and so anything space. There was a UFO show called Project Blue Book about UFOs. Anything about space aliens became huge because solely of Star Wars. It was people don't remember how it affected everything. And this was theirs. They did this, and the premise being that on this earth, just things move faster.
Yeah.
But yet they move faster technologically, but not sociologically.
Right.
Apparently. And I am the hugest Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos fan of all time. I collected all the only only comics I never got were the first three because they were just too expensive.
Yeah.
But from 4 on, this is 1963, I could find all of them and in great condition, and I loved them. I loved all the characters, all the members of the Commandos. It was my favorite Silver Age book, bar none. Wow. Was Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos. So I'm already into this one, and I hadn't read it in forever until you sent it to me, and it's not bad at all. It's not good. It's totally. They introduced. There has to be a droid. There's droids, so it's like Star Wars,
right?
And of course, who's the hidden villain? Well, of course it's fucking Baron Strucker, and they do it, and he's like kind of Darth Vader-ish, and there's aliens invading, but it's like instead of Pearl Harbor, it's Pearl Space Station, and everything's World War II there, and it's ridiculous and stupid, and I love every goddamn second of it. It's fantastic. It's such a picture of, hey, Star Wars was huge. We need to capitalize in anything. We're doing a what if. Fucking Sergeant Fury? Fuck it, let's do Sergeant fucking Fury. And which at the time hadn't been fucking produced. I think maybe there was some reprints going around.
Yeah, I think there were.
It.
Yeah,
that was.
yeah.
I think the reprints had stopped by then.
Yeah.
But it's still those characters, Izzy, the Jewish mechanic, and Reb and Gabriel has his horn, and it's a sonic horn that can knock people out, and Dum Dum Duggan, who has to wear his derby underneath his underneath his round fishbowl space helmet, because that's what people wore then. Nick Fury has a cigar
lit
in his helmet that's lit. They eventually say, he's like, I can't wait to light this. I'm like, looks like it's been lit the whole fucking thing. You're smoking in a bowl. It's so dumb, but I love it so much, especially because at the end when they revealed that Baron Strucker is somehow trying to double cross the aliens, or the Japanese, and they're fighting the aliens. And they start fighting them, and they immediately start doing the whole Sergeant Fury, take that, Ratsy. These heinies, these fucking these Nazis have been a problem for a long time, apparently, in this universe. But they didn't get the chance to take over, and now they're fighting we're all fighting the aliens together. But apparently, these fucking Germans were gonna be a goddamn problem in this futuristic society. And as soon as the Germans got a chance, they tried to fuck us in this Star Wars world. It's so much fun. I love this. It's so much. It's great.
No, it's very true to the Sergeant Fury comics for sure. I mean,
completely. Completely.
Yeah. No, I was pleasantly surprised by this one. It was fun. It was wacky.
There was actually some death and consequences in the Sergeant Fury comics.
That's
right.
Here.
A robot died.
Yeah, this one was out of this world, totally. The concept was basically the Leonardo da Vinci's sketches of helicopters and flight had been implemented, in the Middle Ages.
He wasn't just an artist; he was actually an inventor.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why they advanced that far.
Yeah, because science advanced, but they're all still very 1940s.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing else had changed.
It was so great.
Yeah.
Pearl Station.
Yeah, Space Station Pearl.
Pearl Station.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to get sneak attacked at Pearl Station.
Yeah.
It's totally ridiculous, and I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking it out, because it's one that has a reputation as being garbage, but I don't think too many people have ever actually looked at it.
Well, it is. It is garbage. It's great garbage. It's great. Let's take advantage of Star Wars garbage.
Yeah.
There was so much of it back then.
Yeah. Oh, no, it is. It is like the perfect example of that. It's crazy. So now we go into a sort of a period where there's a lot of issues that I outright skipped, featuring kind of the sea-level characters in a lot of instances.
They couldn't get Nova over giving him his own book, putting him with Spider-Man, or even a big what if. They said, what if 3 different people became Nova? Yeah. What if nobody gave a shit about Nova? How about that?
That was the true story. Yeah, the next issue is that one, is the what if Nova had been 4 other people.
4, it was 4. Okay.
And then what were they trying to test the waters and seeing it
again? Nova was a character that they've done great shit with since, But at the time, the whole Nova and the Nova Corps, another more, let's do anything with space in Star Wars. That was the entire Nova thing.
Yeah, basically. So yes, I avoided this one because I avoided the Nova comics themselves. It didn't last too. I don't know how long did the original Nova series go.
They not long, but they had him cross over into everything.
That's right. Yeah, because like you said, they tried to get him over.
They had him cross over into everything to where they eventually, with writers who knew what they were doing, they took Fantastic Four right around that time, and a great 8-part thing that had the Nova Corps and the Skrulls, and they were aged by the aging guns, and it eventually ends up with the Sphinx gaining the power from the Nova Corps, and they have to enlist Galactus to fight the Sphinx.
Right.
And it was this great long storyline that had tons of stuff from the Nova comic. Mm-hmm. But it was one of those, okay, if you're going to throw me this, I'm going to make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah. So, this, who knows? I mean, it may be an interesting one too, but no. Since I didn't even download it, there's chances are I'll never read this issue. The chances are I'll never read the next issue either, which was what if Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, fought on the side of Fu Manchu?
Yeah, I never saw that one. I never was a fan of the Shang-Chi comics.
Yeah, and I mean, it did go for a long time. It made it into the hundreds, the comic.
For a long time. It had a following.
It was very popular. A lot of people I know have commented that at least the original run was good of it. Cause it was
I've heard the same thing. I just never.
Yeah, no, I never did either. It was still being.
Well, no, I didn't. It was one of those ones I don't really think I had much of a choice. I don't recall seeing it on the stands.
Yeah.
All that often.
I'm pretty sure I saw it on the stands. It was near the end of its run then, but I never picked it up. It was a leftover from the 70s Kung Fu.
Yeah, it was like that and Tomb of Dracula and
right.
But one of the things I from what I understand about Master of Kung Fu was because it sold enough to maintain, but they didn't give a shit that the writers were allowed to do a lot of cool shit.
Yeah.
Because nobody cared.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets that great reputation that I've heard about.
Yeah. It was more.
I'd love to go back and check it out.
Yeah. It was more adult. They were written more for adults, apparently.
Yeah. Although the coloring, still like, let's color Shang-Chi and all the Asians actually yellow.
Yes. Well, they hadn't progressed that far.
Not that far. They're actually yellow. As a goddamn Crayola crayon.
Okay. And then the next issue was another three-part thing. And I did have this one. It turned out to be pretty mediocre. It's what if Ghost Rider, Spider-Woman, and Captain Marvel were villains.
This one, I had this one.
Yeah.
There was something about this one. I remember that as I was a kid, it disturbed me. I didn't care for it. And I just remember I found it I just found it not pleasurable to read as a kid. It's a weird thing. I thought all the stories were downers and just not good. I didn't care for it. I had this one.
Yeah. And Carmine Infantino did the art for it, and he's a legendary.
Yes, he did.
Legendary artist for DC for the Flash in the 60s. Eventually became the publisher of DC Comics, and then wound up doing some work in Marvel.
And right around this time, he goes back to DC and does a great run on the Flash.
Second run on the Flash,
but leading up to the end of the book, before Crisis.
Yep.
You had to really Infantino at that point was like one of those classic artists who found an old lazy style that was really not lazy. It was like he found his style, and it was unlike anything else.
Yeah.
And it was hard to absorb if you weren't ready for it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really good on Flash.
Yeah.
But I don't think it wasn't good on this.
No, and in a lot of other contexts. That's a good point. He worked for the Flash. It worked in other for other characters.
You get what I'm saying. He like Joe Kubert was the same.
Yeah.
Gets to a point as an old man, and here's my style.
Right. Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
It's like a stripped down version of his style. 15, 20 years before.
And Kirby was the same way. All the classics were the same way.
The details in the background essentially get left undone, and and
John Byrne is by far the same way.
Yep, he became
but
that
to a detriment, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And I just remember this issue being, they didn't really become villains.
Not really.
Yeah, so it was kind of a misleading.
Spider-Woman accidentally kills Nick Fury.
Yeah.
But she becomes a good guy. The Ghost Rider one is the same, and and at the end, Captain Marvel is still a good guy. And I just don't know it. It was also 3 stories I didn't give a shit about.
Yeah. It was. I don't even know why I bought this one. This one is totally one that I would have. Type of one that I would skip, but I did have it.
Well, I had it.
Yeah. And then the next one is another one I never read. It was What If Doctor Strange was a disciple of Dormammu?
I never saw that one either.
Yeah, I never. I was a fan of Doctor Strange later, like the Lee Ditko Doctor Strange, but not growing up as a kid. I don't.
Those, like I mentioned, those digests they put out. They also did Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And you have to read all the Lee Ditko Doctor Stranges right up into Dormammu and everything. Goddamn good stuff.
Yeah.
But, I still recall that one. I never saw it to buy it. It was never around me.
Yeah, they could have been, one of the harder ones to get for whatever reason. Now, the next one is one of my favorites, one of your favorites too, Johnny, I think. It's the What If Spider-Man hadn't become a crime fighter.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, basically, what if he'd have stopped the burglar from killing Uncle Ben?
Uncle Ben, yeah.
Yeah, which is where the reality diverges from in this one. And it goes in a really...
Who does the art in this one? It looks like Pollard, but it's not.
I can get that right now. It's I'm not sure.
Really good. It's really good.
It was Pat Broderick.
Oh, I remember Pat Broderick.
Okay.
I remember Pat Broderick. He was good. Okay, so in this one, of course, when the burglar runs by Spider-Man at the TV studio, he does stop him because it's good for business.
Yeah.
And everything changes, and Spider-Man becomes the biggest star in the world. He reveals his identity. He grows his hair long. Yeah, and he's long, and he's on Johnny Carson.
Yeah,
and shit, and becomes just the worst fucking. He's taking care of his family, sure, but he's becoming this obnoxious Hollywood star, and he hires. Matt Murdock.
That's right.
Who is Daredevil as his lawyer. And they set things up with villains where they're hiring the villains to lose on purpose to him so he could become more of a movie star. Yeah. And then at the end, there's a secret villain that's got all these villains together, and they're beating the fuck out of Daredevil. And to where I think I thought they killed him. And he goes, no, enough. And he goes, boom, and kicks everyone's ass, in pure Spider-Man fashion. It's too late. And they reveal that the hidden villain was J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
They don't say that Matt Murdock dies, but I always thought he did. And then he becomes Spider-Man. So it's that same, no matter what happens, his fate is becomes Spider-Man. And in this one, it's real. When he finally has enough, he goes, and come on, like, oh, come on, movie star. And he does kick all their asses. It's one of those mark out moments in a comic book.
Right.
It's really good. It's one of the best ones they ever did.
Yeah, because it rewards like longtime Spider-Man fans with all the history and the different characters.
But it's also because you know what Peter Parker should be, and he's not being it.
Yeah,
and it's pissing you off, And when he finally just bursts and he's the man, you're like, yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And he still has to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because Peter Parker always has to feel guilty about something.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, it was cool because the concept was he put Jonah Jameson out of business, I believe.
That's it. Yes. Yeah, that's it.
And so Jameson was bitter and wanted revenge, of course. And the cover's
because J. Jonah Jameson hates spiders.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. The cover's great. It's got Spider-Man basically being introduced as the guest host of the Tonight Show.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Here's Spidey, and he's got a cape with in the style of his costume with the webs on it. That was like his added touch as a movie star. And this one's good. Fun. Like you said, one of the better ones they ever did. It's a really fun story. Like a look at a different version of Spider-Man. It's really cool. Next up was.
Well, no, it's the thing about real quick. Just add again. Yeah. It's always well. What if Peter Parker, wasn't such a loser?
Yeah.
And what if he did? And you go, no, and they show him like, oh, he becomes a dick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was, at the beginning, his first instinct was to go and make money and become a star, become a celebrity, in the real Spider-Man stories. And he was on what was supposed to be like the Ed Sullivan Show, and so that was happening, and he was becoming arrogant. But of course, the death of Uncle Ben changed all that. But in this world, that didn't happen. So he kept going on being an arrogant little asshole. And he's totally unlikable before he finally turns at the end and sees the error of his ways. This one was really well written. It's definitely not a throwaway issue. It's a really good story. And this one's definitely recommended. Next up was an Avengers one about the Kree Skrull War.
Yeah.
Yeah, without Rick Jones. And I didn't read this one growing up.
Okay, this is another one of my favorites as a kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But here's the weird thing about it. I reread it today.
Yeah.
And I remembered what I remembered then. At the time, I hadn't read the Kree Skrull War. It had never been reprinted.
Right.
At the time, but I knew what it was. It was always referenced, but none of the comics ever reprinted it. So, to me, at the time, it suddenly became all the heroes are teaming up to have a giant war, and I really liked it. Like, especially the bit where the Asgardians join in, and they're on their 1970s Asgardian space Viking boats that they had, space schooners.
Yeah.
They had, which I always thought was the funniest fucking thing. And they're attacking the Skrulls, Vandal and Hogan and the fat one and Sif. And they're attacking us with maces and swords. What kind of madness is this? They're like, oh, and the Asgardians are kicking ass. I was like, that still works, but there's no narrative to this unless it makes no sense.
Yeah, I skimmed through it earlier.
Sense.
Yeah, it didn't.
You'd have to have read the entire Kree Skrull thing.
Yeah.
And as a kid, though, like I said, as a little kid, all I know is like, it's superheroes, it's space, and all the heroes are involved. They do a thing where the villains are also helping to fight to save the Earth. And wow, this is awesome. I love this one. Rereading it, it makes no sense whatsoever.
No,
None.
no, I couldn't make any sense of it earlier when I skimmed through it. Yeah, I've never read the whole Kree Skrull War storyline to begin with, and it's quite complicated, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. To boil it all down into one issue it's impossible. And yeah, this
Rick Jones is still an essential character.
Yes.
And to do a creepy thing, he dies. That's the whole thing.
Right.
But, in the original one, he's sort of like the savior.
Yes.
And this one, he dies. And so what are they going to do without him? And so the Kree Supreme Intelligence molds with Rick Jones's dead body to create a giant, weird human / Kree Supreme Intelligence fetus that's the size of a baby elephant, but it's still a fetus,
right?
With tubes coming out of its head, and who fights a Ronan the Accuser and kills him. And it's really just weird and creepy. It doesn't make a lick of sense.
Well,
I still recommend it.
Yeah. There was a lot of acid being dropped in the 70s at Marvel Comics. That's a fact.
Yeah. maybe that's why I still like it.
So,
and it has one of the most amazing miscolorations in history, because there's a shot where like all the heroes are fighting the Kree, and in the foreground is Daredevil coming at you, and they color his suit totally black because someone thought it was Black Panther.
Black Panther. Right.
And it's Daredevil because the DD is on there. Whoever colored it thought it was Black Panther because they have a very similar outfit.
Oh, yeah, and you can't fault him because Black Panther was part of the Avengers and Daredevil wasn't.
Yeah. And I saw that. I'm like, yep, that's still there. And it's right in your face, too. It's hilarious.
Yeah, well, that was going through some of these issues, especially the ones in the 70s. There was a lot of coloring boo-boos. And the Marvel bullpen one had a ton, where every page there was several miscolorations. Okay, next up was the sequel to the first issue, which the cover doesn't really let you know that. Well, it does say, it says the one you've been demanding. It doesn't show Spider-Man on it.
It doesn't say it's a sequel.
Yeah, what if Invisible Girl of the Fantastic Four married the Submariner, which was the finish to the first one.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know. It was okay. Things basically go back to where they were at the beginning, before Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four at the end, right?
I had this one, and I don't remember how it ended.
Well, Spider-Man leaves eventually. He quits the
Yeah, okay, I remember that.
And then Reed goes kind of nutty. And
Reed goes nutty and wants his old lady back.
Yeah. So and then I think the Thing quits too. And it's down to just Reed and Johnny going to Atlantis to get Sue back. And
is a Tuma in it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it ends with them being reformed as the Fantastic Four, but
I don't.
It's not super essential. Gene Colan did the art for it, though. One of the more notable artists to do a what if story. But yeah.
Another guy who I just.
Yeah, I know you don't like him. I'm not huge on him either. No, I'm not, but he's definitely revered by a lot of fans.
No. Here's the thing. I can see him. I revere him compared to what you see nowadays.
Right.
There were guys who had a style.
Yeah.
And now I appreciate their style.
Mm-hmm.
I still just don't care for their style.
No, yeah.
And nowadays everything just seems very the same.
Yeah, everything looks the same. He definitely had a very idiosyncratic style. Like you wouldn't mistake his art for anybody else's. Very moody, like, atmospheric, dark,
and sketchy, and
yeah,
very sketchy.
Yeah, everything was very dark.
And so was Gil Kane, very sketchy. And
right. Yep. Yeah, especially later. Yeah, Gil Kane. Yeah. And then the next one's one I never read. What if Doctor Doom became a hero?
This is a good one.
Oh, okay. See, I've missed a few
this
good
is
ones.
a good one. This is one of my favorites.
Huh.
Yeah, he has golden armor.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that's not on the cover.
No, it isn't. No.
On the cover is this weird picture of Doctor Doom, like, I'm number one.
Yeah, he's at the parade and they're throwing flowers at him.
Yes. In this one, Doctor Doom listens to Reed Richards when they're in college.
Yeah.
And they do. He doesn't get disfigured, but he still can't rescue his mother's soul from Mephisto. And he becomes this white knight with golden armor of Latveria, and it's all about him trying to get his mother's soul back from the devil.
Right.
And he does eventually. Gosh, I can't remember all the details of it, but I remember really enjoying it. Dr. Doom was one of my favorite characters.
Right.
So to see him played as a pure hero was a lot of fun. It's a good fuck. But yeah, the cover is goofy as fuck.
No, I think that's why I avoided it. Was the cover didn't make it look very interesting. Yeah.
The cover is goofy as fuck. The cover gives you the impression of what if the villain became a hero.
Yeah.
The story is he's never a villain.
Right.
Ever. He listens to Reed. He doesn't get scarred. And it's I remember enjoying it a lot.
Yeah.
Because it was before they actually did it in that great Doctor Doom Doctor Strange
right.
one shot.
Yeah.
This was him rescuing his mom
right
from hell, that even though Doctor Doom was a bad guy, as soon as they introduced that idea, you always wanted him to fucking do it.
Yeah. Well, he was always an interesting character because he wasn't, he wasn't just evil. He was, he had that side to him that, with his past and all that made him more complex than most villains. And,
I have a Doctor Doom bust on my desk.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
It's the one with him just holding up a torn Fantastic Four shirt.
Oh, yeah.
In front of himself. That it's I got it as a Christmas present like 15 years ago.
Cool.
It's still one of my most treasured items.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I'm a big Doctor Doom fan, too. I don't know why I've avoided this one for so long. I didn't download it either.
It's a good one. It's a really good one.
Yeah, I still... Well, now
you feel like seeing like a handsome Doctor Doom dressed up like a golden knight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, because he has a totally different uniform. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I will. Yeah, I should check that out. Now, there's a couple now that you've mentioned that I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't get around to reading. But that's what the point of this show is all about.
Yes.
Next one was the Hulk as a barbarian. I did have this one.
Yeah, me too.
Basically, it's based on the story where he what was her name? Jorella. What was it? Was it a planet?
Microverse.
All right, it's the microverse. Right?
Okay, look, let me just go from here.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones where the cover and the story had nothing to do with the actual story in the book.
Right.
They go, what if the Hulk was a barbarian? And they have this like great picture of the Hulk as a barbarian with Jorella on his leg. Mm-hmm. Nothing to do with the actual story. There's in the 70s, the Hulk book in the 70s was so fucking good. Mm-hmm. They introduced a storyline where there's always people trying to get rid of the fucking Hulk, and they shrunk him.
Right.
And he goes down to the microverse, where it's a he's in the microverse, and it's a Dungeons and Dragons type world, and he has Bruce Banner's brain in there, and he meets Jarella, who becomes the love of his life, who's green skinned as well, and then they do a thing where they come back, and he brings her with him, and this one is just he stays there,
right,
and it just becomes this big like Dungeons and Dragons battle where the Hulk is like the champion of this, and I just remember I think it was one of the ones that had a happy ending.
Yeah, it did.
Honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. I don't remember a lot about it, but yeah, it was one of the more upbeat what ifs.
This is one of the fun ones. It was like, well, you know why? And here's a cool thing, because the Hulk comic was always a fucking downer.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do the what if with the Hulk, make it fun.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the opposite of what the regular comic was.
Exactly.
Right. So that's how that's good booking, as they would say in wrestling.
Exactly.
The next issue I was disappointed with at the time, because it was one that, it was hyped a lot. This was what if Spider-Man had rescued Gwen Stacy, based on one of the more famous comic stories ever. It was the one that was, if you read the letters pages of the early what ifs, it was always there was always someone writing a letter demanding they do this one.
Yes, the letters pages.
Yeah.
Back when we had letters pages, kids, which were just as much of something you look forward to reading.
Oh, totally.
As the comic.
Yeah. Some of the letters pages were great. All kinds of little nuggets that you would find in them.
Basically, all of you who think posting on message boards is something you came up with, back in the day, it was letters to the editor that they print, and they would not just print positive, they would print negative as well. And it was good because reading these scans, when some of them have those pages, and I got such a flashback of my childhood. Going, those were so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, because you had regular contributors.
TM Maple.
TM Maple from my home country.
This is the Mad Maple.
Who was in like every issue of the New Teen Titans, it seemed, and also some
lots of them. But and then even like when we get to, because we're gonna get to the issue what if that was funny. They did a few issues later. There's the letters page. People going, I think what if should be always serious, and the fact that you did jokes, I'm very offended by it. I was like, you know what? This is not nothing new. There's just always been fucking weird nerds everywhere. There's proof.
It's just a lot more accessible nowadays. It's
you had to actually take the time to write a letter.
Yes.
and pay the postage to send it. And they'd be like, fuck it, we'll print it.
Yeah. It's crazy. So anyway, this one was built for months and months. And so I guess when I finally did read this, when I was a little let down, it basically just goes with what happened like the day after, or well, maybe not the day after, but he saves Gwen, of course, Spider-Man, and then immediately he reveals his identity to her, and they make plans to get married, basically, then and there.
Very rushed.
Super rushed. And then, of course, because Gwen doesn't die, Norman Osborn isn't killed, or as it was later rewritten, he didn't die. But anyway, we thought he was dead. So his last act before...
I still like to say he's fucking dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of Spider-Man fans would say like everything that's happened in the last 25 years doesn't count. Sometimes I think that myself, because...
No, I know they've done some great things with Norman Osborn since they brought him back.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like... he died. The way he died was just brutal and fucking. It was very important to me as a kid.
Right.
I was like,
I know. I completely sympathize. So anyway, in the story, just before he reverts back to being good Norman Osborn, he mails a package to J. Jonah Jameson with all the info about Spider-Man being Peter Parker. So at Peter and Gwen's wedding, Jameson storms in with the press and the police, because at the time in the storyline, Spider-Man was wanted for the death of George Stacy, Gwen's father, who was killed by.
He was wanted for questioning.
Oh well, I think Dr. Octopus had killed him. Well, it was accidental, right? A brick.
The bricks.
Chunk of a building fell on him when he pushed a kid out of the way. And Spider-Man was at the scene, and Well,
no, when they finally did the issue, and issue Spider-Man 201 or 202, where they got rid of that. He talks to a cop like, "We have been chasing you forever. We just want to tell you that you're not a suspect in anything anymore. We never thought you killed Captain Stacy, and we just wanted to talk." Oh, okay. They explained it all the way in a very good way in those issues.
All right.
To finally stop.
Right.
The cops have to shoot at Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very long, ongoing.
It lasted from 1968 to 1981 that the cops shoot at Spider-Man.
Yeah. All based on the George Stacy death. So anyway,
it was George Stacy and the Osborn. This one,
right,
just George Stacy.
Right, that's right. Because then he gets blamed for the death of Norman Osborn too.
Even that, they were just like, "Well, we found webs around there. We just want to ask you a question." I'm not answering any questions, Copper.
So anyway, that's how this one ends, is with Jameson ruining the wedding. Peter has to flee basically, and it ends with him being like a wanted man on the run, and Joe Robinson, who's the other guy at the
Joe,
Joe, right,
JJ. The sensible black man.
Yes, the exactly. He totally, tears a strip off of Jameson at the end, and it ends with Jameson being left all alone. You may have done this, but you've lost, everything else in your mad pursuit of.
But I hate spiders.
Anyway, this one, I don't know, just didn't really do it for me. Even though I love this era of Spider-Man, I love the Green Goblin, I love that whole story. It was
that early '70s Spidey is some good shit.
Yeah. So you kind of feel the same way about this one, John?
Yeah. It wasn't that good.
Yeah, it was a forgettable one. And now let's see. Well, the next one's one I've never read. It was the Thor and the Avengers. What if Thor and the Avengers battled the gods? Any thoughts on that?
Never even heard of that
one. It's based, I'm not even sure what storyline it was based on. Well, I'm assuming it was a Thor story from the 70s, but I'm not too familiar with 70s Thor, to be honest with you.
I'm a little familiar with 70s Thor, which got really into a lot of the space schooners and Asgard shit.
Yeah.
Tons of it. In the 70s, it was really big. And Ragnar, it felt like every year, they'd be like, "'Tis upon us is Ragnarok." To the point, they teased Ragnarok a lot at that time.
Yeah, it did become a cliche.
But I don't recall anything. I don't remember that issue.
Yeah, no. Sorry to anyone who's a big fan of this one or who wrote it.
One guy said, fuck you. That was my childhood.
Yeah. The next one is one I avoided too as a kid, but I downloaded it last week. It's What If Captain America Had Been Elected President?
Oh, I had this one. Love it.
Jeez.
And you know what? I read it again. I love it still.
It's ridiculous.
It's so good. It's so good.
The cover is really cool though, with him being sworn in on Inauguration Day.
It's with a very upset Carter, Reagan,
Yep,
and
Reagan.
Various other.
Yeah, there's a Stan Lee.
Stanley, who makes sure that he's drawn with no gray hair
Exactly.
whatsoever.
Black hair. I think Mayor of New York City Ed Koch is one of the faces.
Yes, and the Thing.
The Thing is there, of course. There's others that are supposed to be real people, but I'm not sure who they were.
Yeah, they're the best caricatures.
Yeah, exactly. The Reagan one is okay. The Jimmy Carter one is pretty bad. It makes him look even more wrinkled than Reagan.
Yeah. I love this because it's so. I reread it today, actually, for the first time in like 25 years. And I remember being emotionally invested in the finish. And I'm going to tell you, still did. It was based on this weird little thing they did in one issue of Captain America.
Yeah.
That really cool run they did.
Right.
Where John Byrne and Terry Alston were doing the art. Yeah. And this third party wanted Captain America to run for president, and he says no. That's when he says yes, and he wins. Mm-hmm. He is a black Andrew Jackson Hawk.
Yes.
If there's the most fucking stereotypical black, let's come up with a stereotypical black politician name. Andrew Jackson. Yeah, Andrew Jackson, really? Okay. Not the biggest fan of the blacks. Go ahead. But Hawk. And, of course, at the end, the Green Goblin, the Red Skull is revealed as pretending to be one of the Contras, apparently. But they have a final battle at the end of this. To where, because they said earlier, the Red Skull's like, you have a country, now I have a country. And that there will always be internally in an internal battle between Captain America and the Red Skull. And that's what happens at the end of this. Right. And they both die, and Captain America rescues the world. Or America. And then there's the funeral, and Nick Fury is given the fucking eulogy. And he's like, rest now, soldier. Your job is done. And there's the big, the faded, Captain America in the clouds. Yeah. There's a Bible verse. And motherfucker, it works. It works. I teared up again reading that today. Just a little bit. I teared up. I went, oh, that's good shit. So anyone who doesn't like If Captain America Was President can eat me. I love it.
Yeah. No, I was pretty entertained by this one.
Oh, it's so good.
It's just bizarre, ridiculous, melodramatic.
Well, they do the great thing. He's like, well, I'll take my mask off if I win. And he wins, and he goes, well, I'm going to do something no politician has ever done. Honor a campaign promise right away. My name is Steve Rogers.
Yeah, no, you could tell whoever wrote this one was having fun with the whole premise. It wasn't just a hacked out issue, that's for sure.
Making fun of fucking Reagan and Carter. Yeah, just where they don't have anything to say because they're like, like Carter, the one thing with Carter is like, we all love Captain America and he's a great man, but I don't think he's had much political experience, which is what a Democrat would say.
Yeah.
The Republican, Reagan, goes, we've never seen his face.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's the Republican playing it response. The Democrat his thing is he doesn't have any experience as a politician. It makes sense. The Republicans one is we never seen his face.
I need to see his birth certificate. Yeah.
I didn't see his birth certificate now. Is he really a captain?
Oh, classic.
I highly recommend this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, it is a fun one. It totally is.
It's ridiculous, but it never. It takes itself so seriously that it's like candy. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's true. And now the next few issues are, they're actually Frank Miller does the art for at least one of them, or is it just the covers? I can't remember. I think.
Not sure.
Yeah, but they were these were ones that were more expensive than the others because Miller was so hot. So these ones were the prices were always jacked up on them. So the next one is actually the first one involving the X-Men. 27 issues in, that shows you how the X-Men as a concept had died basically at one point, and then was revived.
77 was when it was all they were kicking back.
Yeah,
but it wasn't until it wasn't until 1980 when the X-Men became the
Phoenix storyline. Yeah, it became a huge phenomenon. But yeah, in the mid 70s, it was down to I think reprints of old issues.
No, that was early 70s. I mean, it was in the mid 70s, 76 ish. That's when, or no, 74 was when they introduced the new X-Men.
That's right. It was 74. Yeah. But it took a few years.
It was taking time. It was taking some time. It was a bi-monthly book.
Yeah, yeah.
It was taking its time, but it was 1980, 79, 80 when boom, it's exploded.
Yeah, and we talked about the Star Wars phenomenon earlier. A lot of people sort of credit the rise of Star Wars for helping sort of the rise of the X-Men, in that there was kind of the similarities in the sort of the X-Men had a bit of a space side to it, and
they did that. They did the space thing. That's when Byrne took over.
Yeah,
in the middle of where they did the group that was based on the Legion.
Yeah,
superhero.
Yeah.
The Galactic Guard or whatever it was called. But so Byrne took over and with Terry Austin doing the inks, and it was just growing so huge because what the fuck, this book is fucking awesome, and the art is like nothing we've ever seen, and they also were doing a Marvel Team Up.
Yeah. That's
so
right.
even more people could see it.
Yeah.
Because that was a Spider-Man book.
Yeah.
So X-Men, in the 70s, they knew this was getting big.
Yeah.
It was getting big. It was getting big. But it did take a while. It was also because Claremont didn't want anyone fucking with X-Men.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it did become huge. It's and the issue 28 is about Daredevil, so that was another one that had sort of a similar turnaround to the X-Men, where it was down to being bi-monthly. It wasn't really too popular, and then Miller comes in and
the Daredevil thing was a lot faster.
Yeah.
I guess so. Took a little while.
Yeah.
But that as soon as Miller took over Daredevil, and it was a dead book, just dead.
Yeah.
It took maybe a year.
Right.
Before people were like, why are you not reading this?
Yeah.
That's
amazing.
In a year, he took a dead character and made it the hottest fucking character.
Yeah. That's really amazing. And reading those issues, it's you know, you can see why, because it set the tone for comics for the 80s, basically. It was
For better or worse.
Yeah, for better, exactly. I mean,
If I had to see any more fucking ninjas,
yes, yeah.
goddamn fucking comic books.
Yeah, well, you know, once something gets hot, it gets repeated and copied a million times. That's the same in.
It was funny, at the time, I hated his art.
Oh, really?
I did not but see, I was a John Byrne aficionado.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, the artists of the day to me were John Byrne and George Perez.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like fucking Miller's style.
Right.
I hated it. And I didn't like ninjas, and I wasn't just invested in it. It was the hottest. Daredevil was so hot at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally, I didn't give a shit. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Well, for me, I was a bit too young to really embrace that one. And it wasn't until way later that I got into it.
Well, I bought them all. Because I bought everything.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
What's the big... John Byrne draws. I was like, John Byrne draws shit like it was real.
Mm-hmm.
It was that sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even today, I mean, I would take Byrne over Miller easily.
But with Terry Austin on fucking inks.
Right, yeah.
Terry Austin is the lost god of fucking comic books. Because you put Terry Austin on inks on anything, and it made it so much better.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the inkers are underappreciated, that's for sure. Because you can compare, you know, a great artist with one inker and to another, and you can see it's like night and day. The difference in the quality, that's for sure.
Yeah, with Austin, it's like you can see it. You know when you're looking at an inked thing by Terry Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always good or just fantastic.
Yeah.
He's the lost hero.
Yeah. So issue 27 was what if the Phoenix had not died?
There we go.
Yeah. Which was based on a story I think that had just ended basically, or not too long before this one came out, which was a huge, basically, yeah,
2 years.
Couple of years. Okay. Basically, what really put X-Men over the top was the Death of Phoenix story.
God, I bought that right off of their rack, and it tore me up.
Huge story.
And they made sure with this issue, because this was something we all were looking forward to.
Right.
The what if that did this.
Yeah.
And they made sure to make it, you know what, even worse.
Right. Because she kills everybody. Yeah.
Everyone kills everyone in horrific ways.
Yes. Yeah. I remember this one being quite the downer, with like nothing redeeming about it. I don't think it has any kind of redeeming end to it at all.
No, it was just they win up on the moon.
Okay.
Or even if they don't, they do the operation. She doesn't kill herself.
Right.
They do the operation that Lilandra wanted to do to give her the lobotomy.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to take away the Phoenix power and all of her powers. And she's living there, you know, with Scott. Everything's kind of fine. And everything goes wrong and it all comes back. And she slaughters everybody.
Right.
And
yeah. Yeah, and
it wasn't really a great story.
No, not at all. It was capitalizing on a hot concept. It was probably rushed into production.
It was something everyone wanted.
Yeah. And Miller doing the cover.
That everyone wanted.
Yeah. Miller doing X-Men on the cover would have been an attraction, a draw.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, it was, yeah, I remember feeling that one was quite disturbing, actually. The Daredevil one is what if Daredevil became an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And that one is one of the ones that it's Frank Miller and has a happy ending.
That's unusual.
No, that one is one of the most fun joyful goddamn ones they've ever done. And it ends with a giant happy ending. It's really good.
Yeah. And just looking, Miller just did the cover for this one too. He didn't do the actual story inside. So. Oh no, or maybe.
No.
Oh no, he did. No, I was.
No, he did. He did. I know that one.
Yeah, I was looking at because it's a two. There's another story in this one. There's what if the Ghost Rider was separated from Johnny Blaze. I was looking at the credits for that one.
Yeah, no one gives a shit about that one. The Daredevil one. Here's what the premise is that when Matt Murdock gets hit with the truck and the shit falls in his eyes, right behind is Nick Fury. In his shield car that can fly, and so he takes him to Shield to have him fixed, and everything's saying all the shit happens, but he's being trained by Shield, and they take care of him and his family, and his father gets kidnapped by Hydra, and he goes on a mission to save it, and it's all very James Bondy. And at the end, like his dad even gets to punch out one of the bad guys because he's a badass boxer, and it's a giant fucking happy ending thing for Daredevil. It's a ton of fun. It's like Frank Miller going, let's make Daredevil super happy. And that's what they did with this. It's very good.
This one I read before I became a fan of the real Miller Daredevil, so I haven't gone back to this one in a while. I don't remember the ending at all. I remember the premise of Fury finding him and then taking him to Shield, but
the ending is just he's an agent of Shield, and everything is just hunky dory.
Hunky dory. Wow. That's cool. Now we get into a few kind of obscure ones. 29 was what if Avengers had defeated everybody.
Don't know that one.
Yeah, that was based on it was a 60s story in the Avengers where they become under the influence of one of Kang's other personalities. What was his other one? The Scarlet something from an alternate reality. Yeah. Well, he became
Kang Ramatut.
Yep. And then
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The Scarlet something or another.
Yeah, he was only that personality in like a alternate reality. And so this is based on that story where he kind of brainwashes the Avengers into basically conquering the world. So yeah, the cover's cool, but with them triumph over all the heroes, but the story is nothing memorable. I don't think.
I bought Avengers #8, the introduction of Kang, at a flea market for $7 in 1979. I like to tell people that.
Yeah, that one's worth a bit more than that, or it was at one point anyway.
No, I haggled. I was a kid, and I haggled him down from $15 down to what I could afford.
That's awesome. The next one is what if Spider-Man's clone had lived?
Another happy ending.
Yeah, and this one took me forever to find. And when I finally did, I was
it's ridiculous.
Greatly disappointed. The art is horrible in this one.
So silly. It's the clone thing before the clone saga.
Yeah.
Just make it real quick. They did Spider-Man clone thing. In this one, in the book, the clone is killed. In this one, the clone lives, and takes over Spider-Man's life. And but the clone was from earlier in his life, and still likes Betty Brant and not Mary Jane. And but the finish is they both wake up, and they go, well, let's figure out our lives together.
Right.
I'll be Spider-Man on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You'll be Spider-Man on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. We'll switch up on Sundays. And great. And a big handshake. And it was just, it was very silly.
Yeah, it was.
But it was a happy ending one. They, like I said, rarely did a happy ending.
Yeah, no.
And that,
I just
but
remember
the cover of the book is far more dramatic than the story.
Exactly.
That happens.
Yeah, it doesn't line up with the story at all.
It's the clone Spider-Man like holding down a coffin.
Yeah.
Of the other one. He's like,
yeah,
you're gonna stay in here because I'm fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, a cryogenic tube.
Cryogenic tube. That's it. Yes.
Yeah. No, it looks very dark on the cover, but yeah,
it's one of the most lighthearted what ifs they ever did.
Yeah, totally.
It was still better than the actual clone saga that they did some years later.
Yeah, they didn't have to waste 120 issues to tell the story.
No.
Most of which were, better used as toilet paper. Yeah, no, it's true. And I ended up buying most of them at one point, and I'm not too proud of saying that, but it's true.
I remember when I wasn't really buying them, but I'd like read stuff like on the shelves and stuff. And when I go, and I read Red Wizard, I'm like, so wait, are they saying that the Peter Parker, who I've been reading about forever, is supposed to be the clone?
Yeah.
And the real one, the real Peter Parker was the guy's been in hiding all this time.
Yeah.
And I remember going, it really shouldn't matter to me. It's just stories, but it bothered me.
Oh, it bothered a lot of people. It was a huge fuck you to anyone. Like for myself, that was the only Spider-Man I knew. Was
but it's a dumb thing to get fucking annoyed about. But I did.
Know. When you're that invested, when you're that invested.
No, it's like those people who go, I can't enjoy the Star Wars Expanded Universe books because now they're not canon. Like, well, why? Why? You still enjoy the books? I don't.
Right.
But I have my same thing with that. I don't want to read this.
Oh, me too. And it was years later, 4 or 5 years later, that I went back and bought them all for some stupid reason. They weren't expensive, or maybe I had a lot of money to throw around at that time, and I threw it around quite stupidly. And then that was one of the things.
I want the whole clone one.
Yeah, I don't know why. It was because suddenly the comic book store that I went to had them all available. I don't know. They got them all from somewhere, and prior to that they didn't, and then so I just bought them all stupidly. Anyway, yeah.
They killed Aunt May, and
yes. Oh, and all.
It was funny as I bought that one, and it was actually an amazingly touching fucking scene.
It was
the
the high point of the whole fiasco.
But I'm so glad they got rid of it, because when they did the other revamp with John Romita and right before the 9/11 issue, and also when they introduced Orland, where they had Aunt May, figure out, find that Peter was Spider-Man. And the way they handled it there was like so much better.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh no, Spider-Man's history has been quite spotty in the last 25 years or so.
Still the best.
Still the best, but so many strange twists and just they really don't know when to stop meddling with the character.
But that's what I get annoyed when people say, I've read this. They'll just get rid of this fucking Peter Parker character and let it just be one of the more, Spider-Man that we want.
Right.
What? No. Or, Peter Parker is the one character for me that I identified with.
Yeah, exactly.
All identified with.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of Peter Parker. That's stupid.
That is the worst idea possible, I think. But
Bruce
yeah.
Wayne, fuck him.
No, it's true. I mean, Peter Parker is the more important than Spider-Man, arguably. I mean, that personality.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, anyway, back to the What If world. The next issue was a big one, or an important one that was, in my comic book stores, you had the wall where you'd have the more valuable comics. And this was always on the wall. What if Wolverine killed the Hulk?
Killed the Hulk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And
that was on the wall. You know why that was on the wall? To fool people into paying for it.
Yeah.
More than it was a what if.
I know. It was a total scam.
They were scamming people. 'Cause I remember the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
By that time, I could buy what else, at the newsstand.
Yeah.
Not a bad issue. But holy shit, the front of that looked, with Wolverine standing over the Hulk.
Yeah.
At that time where Wolverine was like the hottest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I'm just, it does not shock me that comic book shop said $20.
Yeah, it was totally like that.
$20.
And just because of Wolverine.
It's not even that good.
No. I honestly don't remember much. Oh, actually, I do remember the ending.
Wendigo.
Because Wolverine dies at the end. I think it's something to do with Magneto. Yeah, but of course, no.
Yeah,
but the cover is very cool.
Oh, the cover's iconic.
And it was before Wolverine had his own comic, so it was extra cool to have him as the focus of a single issue, right?
Oh, that might have been the first time they put Wolverine in the front of anything.
Yeah,
and,
probably.
Ape shit.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, totally. Issue 32 is what if the Avengers had become pawns of Korvac?
I think I had this one.
Yeah. That's a storyline I'm not familiar with.
Oh, what a great storyline.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Avengers, like 170 or 160.
Yeah, around there.
But it was a long-term storyline. It ends with Avengers 175, I think.
Yeah.
But the Korvac saga originally, such a great story, and that what if was really good. But you had to know.
That's why I avoided
the
it.
Story.
It was just before my time, before I became a fan, so I missed it.
Yeah, you had to be really into the Korvac saga to get that one, but that one's good. And another really fucking dark one.
Sounds like it.
Really dark.
Yeah, because the
story itself was dark as fuck.
Yeah.
But really good.
Yeah. No, that was one that I missed, and then back when I was first a fan of comics, they didn't reprint that era of comics, so I never had access to it. Now it would be more available, I assume, but back then.
Dude, at the time I bought a couple of the Avengers in that off the rack, and others I found and put it all together. Like I said, at flea markets and garage sales. And what a good, amazing. So that's when they introduced the Guardians of the Galaxy and
right.
Just some badass shit. Some really heavy ideas.
Yeah.
Because everyone dies. Everyone fucking dies.
Right.
In this, and the way they bring them back to life is not cheesy. It just in the what if they take it this other way, and I just remember it being really like into that take because Korvac becomes a god, and they show like all the warriors of Asgard are lining up against him, and everyone's beat by Korvac in that what if. That's the point of that one is that they don't beat him.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, it's just something I was just missed out on. But I know it has a big reputation amongst comic book fans as being a big high point.
Good stuff. Some great Thor you know, where when they would do every now and then when they have to remind you that Thor is a fucking god dummy, and he is not he's not going down. You know, he will be the last man standing, and Thor ain't fucking going down because he's a god. Yeah, it's so good.
That's awesome.
I highly recommend it.
Cool. Next one is an obscure one. It's got 2 stories in it. Dazzler becoming the Herald of Galactus, and Iron Man trapped in the time of King Arthur. This one, I think I may have had this one, but any thoughts on this one, Johnny?
I think I had this too, but it was based on 2 storylines. One, the amazing King Arthur Iron Man storyline that they went back to twice.
Right. Yeah.
With Doctor Doom. And I had every issue of Dazzler, and everyone can go fuck themselves. All of them. And she eventually comes into contact with Galactus. Yeah. It's fucking nuts. This character they created eventually with Galactus, and I kind of remember, you know, she becomes a herald.
Yeah,
that's it. You know, but it was one of those things. Dazzler was pushed so hard.
Yeah.
So hard, and was actually, and I had when you subscribe to these many books, you'll get a free subscription to Dazzler. And I did that. I had a subscription to a ton of books. And I got Dazzler. It was a fine book.
Right.
And very well done. But they felt the need to take this character and put her against wrestling wise, taking a new character.
Yeah.
And putting her against all of the biggest heels you can imagine.
Yeah.
And to where the point Galactus gets involved. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, because the whole thing was based on Disco being huge, and then
Disco Dazzler,
and the comic.
This was New Wave. And
and the comic was sold only at comic stores, or at least the first issue was. It had
the first issue.
Yeah,
the first issue was the very first comic book ever sold exclusively in comic books.
So So it had a bunch of gimmicks behind it. It was totally existed to make money, basically.
But the book itself was really great stories, great supporting cast that they created. Very early 80s Marvel.
Right.
It was not bad at all as a book, but for a minute there, they were like, she fights Doctor Doom and Galactus for the first 7 issues. It was like, then they calmed it down.
A little too heavy-handed at first. I know I had a few Dazzlers for sure. It lasted well until.
Well, I was going through puberty, and the way they drew was quite nice.
I can understand that for sure. So now we've danced around it a few times. I think we finally got to the famous comedy issue of What If, number 34, that I had as a kid, and I reread this morning, and it's great. The beginning with Fred Hembeck.
Fred Hembeck, my
doing
hero.
His bit. Hembeck at the time was he got famous on the indie scene doing spoofs of the superhero comics, and then he eventually became part of Marvel. And did spoofs for them.
But before that, he did stuff for DC too.
Oh, that's right.
The little 3-strip things, because DC books had the same as not the letters page, but the Marvel had the Marvel bullpen page. DC had one too that had Hembeck 3-panel cartoons.
Yeah,
Fred Hembeck. And I bought his black and white stuff at conventions around this time. And I am one of the hugest Fred Hembeck fans in the world. I love Hembeck. And this starts with a bunch of him. And it's just the best. Because right before this, there was a one-shot called the Fantastic Four Roast.
Yep.
That Hembeck did. That was, you could only get at comic book shops.
That's right.
And I got that. I bought this What If at a convention in Philadelphia. Going to, they were called Creation Cons. Creation was the original, if you were going to go to a comic book convention, Creation was, that's where you went. New York, Philly, all over the East Coast. And I got this What If there and laughed my ass off reading this thing. What year was this?
This was 82.
I was 12, 11. This was the highest humor to me. It was so good.
Oh,
just a total laugh.
Yeah. It's the comedy issue, the parody issue. So they basically parody all the cliches of what ifs, and it starts with a typical Watcher opening, it's very serious, and then at the very bottom, like a comedy version of the Watcher bursts.
Hey, let's have some fun.
Yeah, let's have some fun. What if the Watcher were a stand-up comedian?
Yeah.
And then the Hembeck stuff starts, and it's all just one panel.
What if the Fantastic Four were bananas?
Yes, that's the very first one. That's hilarious.
That's fucking hilarious. They're all just holding bananas. The Thing has a rocky banana.
Yeah.
There's a torchy banana, a stretchy banana, and an invisible banana. That's fucking hilarious.
I love what if Odin was Peter Parker's uncle?
Yes, that was great.
And he's just, the burglar's trying to rob the house, and he's
beating him up. So, be back later.
Base villain! How dare you try to burglarize the All-Father's earthly domain?
What if Alpha Flight talked like
real
TV Canadians?
real
Canadians. And it's a big spoof on Bob and Doug McKenzie from SCTV. And they're always like, hey, hoser, don't squeeze the shaman. Oh, killer. And so funny. One of the funniest bits is they do a spoof of the Bob Hope, Bing Crosby Road movies.
All right.
Where it's Road to Hiberia.
Yeah.
It's Conan. But it's Bing Crosby's head on Conan's body with all the typical jokes they had. And that one I didn't understand when I was a kid.
No.
Years later when I saw those movies, I was like, oh, that was so funny. But they some that were really smart and some were really stupid. Like, a lot of dumb puns.
Yeah.
What if Aunt May had superpowers? Would she be, antifreeze? And shit like that.
Yeah.
And then there's what if Kazar became an accountant?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
There's a Blondie parody. She-Hulk.
Oh, the Blondie Hulky. She-Hulky. Oh, they did the I Love Lucy.
Yeah, that one too.
I knew we should have rented to green people.
Oh, yeah. That's what she says.
Oh, Terry Austin. No, what if the Watcher was watching all the other Watchers, and it's just this great shot of Watchers looking at each other?
Yeah.
And then some of them are just like super funny.
Yeah.
And here's go back to the there's always been geeks who have no sense of fucking humor. I read the letters to the editors page about this issue in one of the things you sent me. And a couple people were like, humor has its place, but not in something as serious as what if. And I would appreciate if you would never, if you want to just do a one panel thing, fine. But this is really, and I'm like, it's never changed. There's always been fucking dummies. I take my superheroes goddamn seriously. And for you to make fun with these silly jokes, it's just...
Yes, I'll hold up.
I love that it ends with, what if Stan Lee read this issue?
Yeah.
He's like, you're fired.
Yeah. Enough said.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much funny shit in that.
Yeah. I like, what if Iron Man had an eating problem instead of a drinking problem?
What if Iron Man had an eating problem instead of drinking problem? That's the funniest. Because they do the shot.
Yeah.
Where he's
looking in the mirror. He's got McDonald's bags.
But he's got Twinkies. He's a Twinkie problem.
Twinkies hanging from the... sausages hanging from the mirror.
Or he's trying to get his suit on with a crowbar. The funniest thing is the artist did that. It was Bob Layton. Bob Layton did fucking art for that.
Yeah.
Bob Layton, the most underrated artist of that time and any time.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets about fucking Bob Layton. Bob Layton was the fucking man.
Yeah, he was very good.
The Hercules. Bob Layton was the fucking man. And oh god, the whole issue is so funny.
Yeah, it is.
And if you were 12, it was probably like I was.
Yeah,
I was like, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. No, I when I was a kid, I was even younger. I was probably like 5 or so. And I thought, a lot of it was funny, but of course, a ton of it went way over my head.
A lot of it went over my head.
Yeah, but now.
What if Power Man was white?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a funky honky.
What if Luke Cage found the hammer of Thor?
What if Luke Cage found the hammer of Thor? Get down, motherfuckers.
By the gleaming gates of funky Asgard, you suckers.
The gleaming gates of funky Asgard. That was too much. Oh, they did the, what if Wonder Man was what if Wonder Man and Power Man were women? And it just gives up do not do this joke under legal advisement.
Yeah.
Your distinguished competition.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah,
it's a fun bug.
There's a few jabs at DC in there. The other one is about, I guess they're spoofing Captain Carrot with Howard the Duck and his team of animals. Is that?
Oh, that's not in that one.
No, it is. It's what if Howard the Duck formed his own super team.
Oh, yeah, no, that was way before Captain Carrot.
But the way it's written, it has the watcher saying, truly one of the oddest alternate realities I've ever encountered. In fact, I find the entire concept downright crazy with the D and the C emphasized.
That would be making fun of the Legion of Super Pets from the 60s.
Oh, okay, now, yes.
Yeah, because Captain Carrot didn't come around until like 82.
Right, it was around the same time, but yes, no, you're right about this.
No, they were making fun of the Legion of Super Pets.
Yeah. I knew it was something on DC, and that was Captain Carrot was the first one that came to mind. But that makes way more sense. But yeah. No, it really is. It's a classic bit of comic parody.
But it really is funny to read that there were nerds then who were like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah, I can see them like, how dare the comic that gave us such gems as Captain America becoming president? How dare you decide to go do comedy on us?
You make fun of dude, at the time, anything that made fun of Phoenix dying, was nerds got mad. Remember, Marvel had Crazy magazine.
Yes,
it was like they're mad.
Yeah,
and they did a thing where they took like all the panels from a bunch of the Jean Grey Phoenix saga and put in different words that were just making fun of it like fuck. And it got like people were super angry. Mm-hmm. How dare you make fun of that thing that made me cry?
Oh god. Yeah.
So it's always been around.
It's always been around. It's always been around. Yeah. But yeah, no, this was a classic issue. It's hilarious.
It's so funny. It's so funny that when they did the reboot, they waited till issue 34.
That's right.
To do the exact same thing.
Yeah, totally. That's true.
And that one has on this one, it has the Watcher going, "Don't buy this issue."
Yeah. On the
trying to hold it all back.
Yeah.
And the other one, it has the Watcher acting like Marilyn Monroe in the 7-Year Itch.
Yeah.
With the skirt being blown up.
Yeah. I had that one. Yeah.
I had that one too. I had that one too.
Yeah, no, the parody issues are one of the more fondly remembered stories that they did. It was just it pays off being like a big fan of Marvel Comics, but it's got the spoofs of the other stuff in there. It's really well done, actually. Definitely recommended. So now, we're into kind of the last few years of What If here.
It up.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a blast, but we got to be getting around the 3-hour mark, and so we'll kind of skim through the last few issues. There wasn't a whole lot of like really great ones in the last run or the last bit. Well, there was a few. We've touched on the Captain America one.
There's one I want to touch on.
Yeah,
but. No.
Yeah. John Byrne did one where it was Fantastic Four without powers. Issue 36.
Right.
Where the cover is a takeoff of the first issue of Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it was basically the Challengers of the Unknown.
Yeah, it's basically the Challengers of the Unknown. But it was actually well done from what I remember. That one also has another Nova What If, believe it or not, in it as a tacked on second story.
We're going to get Nova over.
God, he's back. A lot of the later issues were, 3-part things or 3 different stories. There was some real dark ones in the last, like even darker than what had come before.
The one I'm talking about is about really as dark as it gets.
Yeah, so we'll get to that one. We'll get to it's issue 42. What if the Invisible Girl had died?
Holy shit!
Yeah, based on her giving birth to Franklin Richards, which was the 6th annual, I believe, of the Fantastic Four.
I believe the annual was she's giving birth.
Yeah.
Because of the cosmic rays, she's dying, and they have to.
Yeah.
And this is the comics. They have to go into the negative zone. And the only thing that can make sure that she can deliver the baby is the radiation thing that's on Annihilus's neck. Mm-hmm. And in the book, they get it, get back, happy ending. Mm-hmm. And this don't fucking happen. Recently, though, just a year or two, they had the Invisible Woman, have a miscarriage. Mm. For after the Secret Wars. Lots of people were not happy with that storyline.
Right. Yeah.
Not happy with that at all. Mm-hmm. And now they do a What If where she loses a baby that was the character that they knew, Franklin, and dies in childbirth. and it gets dark as fuck. They do. There's the funeral scene where like each page is like each person giving their eulogy. And like Johnny Storm, of course, gets up and he breaks down. The thing comes over, consoles him because of how Susie was, the strongest of us all. And Reed gets up and it's just like very cold. And they get back after the funeral, and the Submariner has shown up. And the thing at first, like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, I loved her as much. And he's like, and Ben Grimm, I saw something in Reed Richards' eyes that it scares me. He's like, you're right. And he keeps him around. And Reed Richards now is just obsessed with going back into the negative zone and killing Annihilus because he couldn't get that thing. And it gets dark as fucking crazy when they get into there, and when Reed Richards just breaks down and does the whole like, I have nothing to live for without her speeches in there. It's one of the most well-written books ever, including some throwaway fucking what if. But the whole Reed Richards as a broken man, that what could only break him is that he lost his wife and child in this way. And that this is what breaks the smartest man in the world, and he dies, killing Annihilus.
Yep.
And it's all really sad.
It is.
It's so sad. But holy shit, it's one of the best ones to go, well, let's take a character like Reed Richards. What would happen to him if that happened to him? He'd become that obsessed. He'd become that just all of his science. Now I'm going to kill you. Because like when he gets Annihilus is like, why? What did I do?
Yeah.
I didn't kill your wife. No, you did in my mind.
Yeah.
It's a very, very super heavy issue that for a long time whenever I like was in one of those moods where I wanted to be sad, I'd whip that thing out and read that because it made me sad. It's that good. It's that good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is a powerful one. It's one that I did have as a very young child. And yeah, it did.
I was a teenager.
Yeah, I was nowhere close to being a teenager. I was a huge Fantastic Four fan. That was the John Byrne era at that point. And
even the cover of it was like,
oh yeah,
her dead and his arms flailing,
and the look on his face is like,
yes, insane
horror.
insane.
Yeah, insanity and horror, with Annihilus laughing in the background. Yeah. Yeah, I can still picture like the scenes you described, like
and Submariner,
right.
And lots of great character work in it. It was like someone took their what if job and like, I'm gonna, you know what? Oh, they gave me a what if, and this is it. I'm gonna knock it out of the park.
Oh yeah, it was definitely taken a lot more seriously than your typical what if story, and it was just very dark. It was the descent of Reed Richards into total insanity and hatred.
It's my favorite what if because it's the one that really most emotionally got me.
Yeah.
Tore me apart.
It's cool. Yeah, I haven't read it back in years. But I can still remember so many parts of it. It was so dark and crazy. That is one that people should check out, issue 42. So only a few issues left. They brought back Conan again. In issue 43, I've never read this one, but it sounds kind of interesting. It's basically a sequel to the issue 13.
It is.
Yeah. Johnny, did you read this one?
I did. I don't remember much about it, but now he is King Pimp. Basically.
Right, and the cover is awesome with him pointing a gun right at the reader. Cool cover. Issue 46 was What If Spider-Man's Uncle Ben Had Lived, which is basically had been done before. But the twist on this one was Aunt May is killed instead of Uncle Ben.
Right.
And it was drawn by Ron Frenz, who was the artist for Amazing Spider-Man at the time, and someone I really liked and I've always liked. Kind of
yeah, he's good.
Yeah, very much his style is very much a homage to both Ditko and Kirby at the same time. He could he had a long run on Spider-Man, then he had even longer run as Thor's artist that I really loved.
Oh, right.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s, where he basically did his version of Kirby's Thor. And so this one had great art. I don't remember. It was kind of dark too. But I don't remember a lot of the details of this one.
I never read this one.
Yeah, he knows that Peter's Spider-Man, that becomes known. I know that's part of the story. Uncle Ben knows he's Spider-Man. And it's I don't know, good art, but the story just wasn't as good as it should have been. And then the final issue, kind of the whole series ends with a whimper, with What If Thor's Hammer was found by Loki. It doesn't say anywhere that it's the last issue. I don't know if it was stated in the letters pages or something. I skimmed through this one earlier. The art's not bad. The story it's nothing groundbreaking. Eventually, of course, Thor does get the hammer back. It only just sort of delays what happened in the real universe by, a few days, basically.
It's one of those, like, they already had done, what if so-and-so got Thor's hammer?
Yeah.
Now, what if, it's, they were kind of running out of things.
Right, but in the actual story, he never actually, he finds the stick, he finds the stick, and then he knows it's the hammer, and he just throws it away so that Don Blake can't find it. But Loki himself never actually gets the power of Thor, gets to use the hammer.
Yeah, the titles often were not negative of the story.
And the cover's misleading too. But I just thought, since it was the last of the original run, I thought I would just check it out. But I kind of knew there was a reason why I avoided it all those years, because it was another one that was easily available in the back bins of the back issue bins of the comic book stores. But that's how it ended. They brought it back about 4 or 5 years later for a long run. The 100+ issues.
Yeah.
A lot of good ones. A lot of not so good ones. It became sort of everybody dies with each passing issue, it seemed like.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Yeah, and that became, after a while, it was just too similar. Each issue was too similar to the previous one. But I'm trying to think.
But it still showed there was an audience for the idea.
Oh, yeah. And actually probably a bigger audience the second go around. It was more popular the second time around, I guess. Well, they used the X-Men a lot. That was another thing about the second run.
A lot.
They used the hot characters a lot. They used the Punisher, Wolverine, X-Men, Spider-Man, and avoided, the obscure characters like the original What If series. Wasn't afraid to base a whole issue on Nova and Shang-Chi. Whereas the second What If was almost exclusively like the heavy hitters with each issue, the most popular characters with each issue.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Completely, yeah. They weren't, like I say, the original ones, they weren't scared. Here's the characters from the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the Marvel bullpen.
Here's the Marvel Here's Stan Lee stretching. But
Yeah,
I looked at the list. I looked at the list of the revamp, and a lot of it was just X-Men,
Yeah,
and Punisher.
Yeah, tons of those. One cool thing they did is in about the 30s of the second run, they did an actual like continued story where they brought back a lot of the old alternate realities from the original series. So they brought back the Fantastic Five.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they brought back the Wolverine. There was a story where Wolverine became a vampire. That was actually in the second run, but they brought that character back. It was called Timequake. It was a big thing where all the different realities were meshed.
I remember one of that I bought. This a time I was not buying comics in 1992, and I was driving from New Jersey to Kentucky to visit some friends, and I was at a rest stop, and I just looked over at a rack, and what was there amongst the tiny bit of comics was a What If. And it was What If Wolverine had married Mariko. And I was like, ooh, I remember, that was a major X-Men thing when I was a kid. And I bought that and I helped, and it was like, it was an okay story. At the end it ends up with like the Kingpin is the bad guy, and Kingpin fights Wolverine, and Kingpin's like in giant like samurai armor, and it was all kind of silly. But at one point, Silver Samurai was a good guy, but he turns on them and shit. And I always loved it because I just kept it around, because I was in the first time I ever like tried to drive even remotely cross country by myself. And this comic was like my little like attachment that I found. I was at just some rest stop eating. Yeah. And even that one was like, it was okay. And then Sunfire comes in and saves the day at the end, and just burns, just sets the Kingpin on fire and burns him to fucking death. It was, and Wolverine ends up back at the steps of the Xavier Institute, and Kitty, of course, opens the door, and he's like, oh, she's like, oh, you're back. There's a tear in his eye.
Yeah, that's right around where I finally threw in the towel. I was looking at the list, and the next one after that Wolverine one is What If Venom Had Possessed the Punisher, which is such a blatant, blatant grab at trying to get people to buy it. With like,
what if Venom had possessed the Punisher and fought Spawn?
Please buy this issue. We put in every one of your favorite hot characters into one. So that gives you kind of a feel.
We've got 18 covers. We've got chrome variants. 18 chrome variants of the Punisher fights Venom into Spawn and mutants. Buy it. That's so nice. That's the most 90s thing I've ever heard. Holy shit.
The comics, in general at that time, superhero comics had become so, crass. It was just all about the violent characters with guns and blood, and just the art was hideous. And I definitely checked out at that time. So that gives you...
DC was doing a lot of really good stuff.
I was still too young to appreciate DC. I would come to appreciate that stuff later. But at that time, I was still a Marvel zombie, and all those violent gun-carrying characters just turned me off completely.
I mean, DC did their share of it, but at the same time, DC was like the Batman books, the Superman books were outstanding.
Right.
At that time, the Superman books were amazing at the time of the 90s big gun era.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of good stuff, but it was becoming like drowned out by mountains of shitty comic books and all the alternate covers and gimmick covers and people just in it because they thought they were going to fund their college education.
I know. Dude, I lived through that too, and I used to just laugh my ass off at it because I've been collecting since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I knew the realities of it. I was explained the realities of it to me by dealers. But my father and mother were also antique dealers.
Mm-hmm.
I already knew. So by the early 90s, I'm in my 20s, if you're like, these are going to be worth so much money, I got to put these. I'm like, no, they're not, because everyone has one.
Exactly.
The death of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I went to my shop. I got the very special bag that came with the armband and everything. They're like, why are you opening it? I'm like, 'cause I want to read the comic book.
Yeah.
And I want to like get the armband out. That's kind of cool. Like now you can, and people buying like tons of copies. Like I remember my guy was, how many do you want? I'm like, one.
How many could I put you down for? 20?
Yeah, I'm like one. I've been reading this whole storyline, you know.
Right.
But people legitimately thought that they were gonna become rich.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I was like, it's not a collector's item.
No.
If everyone has one.
Exactly. That was the one thing that no one seemed to grasp. Was simple economics, but
it's so dumb. And they were for god damn, for a burst there were. I lived in a small town area, and suddenly there were 8 comic book shops.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There was an explosion everywhere. Malls, strip malls. It was
everywhere.
Yeah. And then 2 years later, they were all belly up and gone.
All belly up, gone. And only the ones that had a good business.
Yeah.
Managed to stay around.
Back to like the original 3 or 4. Yeah.
But holy shit. At the time, it was kind of fun. I could go anywhere and buy my comics.
Yeah.
But there was one bias that, pre-bagged and boarded every comic, the new issues.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I would like to maybe open this and flip through it and see if I'm going to fucking buy it.
Exactly.
Which the comic book shop in my area that lasted, and I think it's still there today. You can walk through and pick up anything and flip through it, and they didn't give a shit.
Right.
But it got to that point. Every new issue bagged and boarded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, well, why would I?
I know. No,
it's so bad.
Lost its soul at that time. But anyway,
Well, What If had a soul?
Yeah, What If had a soul. Those old issues that smelled so great and featured characters that nobody gave a shit about.
and seeing some of these issues that you sent me, the Marvel bullpen page, or the here's all the issues that are coming out with a little check mark for you to check if you got them.
Yeah, the box for and I did do that. I did check them.
I did too.
Yeah.
Marvel 2-in-1. What? Who's the Thing teaming with? These were. It's so hard to describe how magical these times were because comics weren't that hot, but they were hot enough to where there were tons of them.
Yeah.
And it was just to where we would go to. We didn't have to go to comic book shops or bookstores. We went to the convenience store.
Yep.
Or wherever. There was the rack.
The rack.
It said, "Hey Kids Comics."
Yep. Squeaky.
It was the best. It was the best. I hate to be like, hey, everything that you guys do now stinks, and what we liked as old people is better.
Yeah.
But in this occasion, ours was better.
I believe so. Yes.
It was a lot better.
It was. It was literally like a simpler time. And then, that's what we'll always be celebrating on Imaginary
on this
Story.
show.
Yeah. I'm glad you've made it through another one with us.
3 hours.
3 hours, baby. Well, we're doing a whole friggin' series of comics. 3 hours is probably on the short side. But yeah, it was a blast as always.
Again, man, this is the most fun. This is our third one.
Yeah.
Hey, you and I both do a lot of podcasts. This is by far the most fun one I do. By far. This is. I hope everyone else enjoys it. This is, like I said, it's a pleasure to do and a pleasure to do with you because we're both right out of the same world. It's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a labor of love. We'll keep pumping them out every once in a while. Next time, we're going to look at All-Star Squadron.
All-Star Squadron.
Yeah.
You got the tease. Roy Thomas gets his hands. This is early. Here's your teaser. This is 1982-ish DC when, boom, they were trying stuff like New Teen Titans. And one thing they also tried was something called All-Star Squadron. That was a huge smash. And during its peak was one of the best fucking comic books, bar none. Writing and art. Just amazing. Amazing book that has been forgotten in history, and that's another thing we like to do. I think it's you shine a little light on stuff that's forgotten.
Totally forgotten. Basically, it was based on 1940s superheroes. World War II was set during the Second World War.
But done seriously.
Done really well.
So good. We'll that's your teaser, but holy shit, All-Star Squadron. Badass.
I'm excited. I'm downloading the whole run as we speak.
Nice.
So we'll have that. This one I'm going to definitely have to do some rereading and preparation. It's been a while. And I mean, this was DC's big thing, Earth 2. The Earth where the heroes started in the 40s or late 30s and the 40s. And the DC multiverse, we'll have to talk about that because that was one of my favorite things. I love the whole concept of multiple Earths. So you can see this as kind of a companion.
I always love the fact that as soon as DC bought the intellectual properties of a company, it became a new universe.
Yeah, exactly. And they kept adding to it. So it'll be sort of in a way a companion to the What If show we just finished, talking about alternate realities and all that. So
eventually it will lead into Crisis on Infinite.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah. That's where we could have like our wrestling podcast is one Earth, and then that's the meeting of the two of them will be the big special. The Johnny Sorrow of two worlds.
Crisis.
Okay. Well, till next time, this is Kelly Nelson here with Johnny Sorrow on Imaginary Stories.
See ya.
See you later.